Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox, G. Bush, Mikey McNuggets, Anthony, Steve, Earl, everybody else is here and not here. We have breaking news today. We're getting to it. I was going to start the show talking about how people overreacted to Belichick, but then this morning I got angry and screamed at the radio because someone said somebody's not getting any younger. Nobody's getting any younger. Please don't use that expression. Mike, set us up.
We got breaking news, guys. Let's get into it. The coaching search is over. We'll dive into it after a quick word from the Monsters. The Lake Erie Monsters are back for one weekend only on January 30th and 31st at Rocket Arena. It starts with a 1-2-3 Friday and a Battle Together t-shirt giveaway courtesy of True North Convenience Stores for the first 5,000 fans. Then on Saturday, the first 8,000 receive a Zach Wenerensky bobblehead courtesy of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Enjoy returning players, themed jerseys, Calder Cup photo opportunities, and more on this step back in time to 2016. Tickets are on sale now at clevelandmonsters.com.
Watch the Cleveland Monsters. It's a better product than the Cleveland Browns. We know that. The Cleveland Browns, guys, have done the unthinkable, the unbelievable. They've hired Todd Monken, the last guy on everybody's list.
Yep.
No other team in the history of the NFL has been interested in hiring him as a head coach. He's how old, Mike?
Turned 60 in 2 weeks.
He turned 60 in 2 weeks. He's been described as a grumpier Kevin Stefanski. G. Bush, Browns apologist.
I don't answer to Browns apologists. I'm
President of the Kool-Aid Mafia.
Yeah,
Leader
man.
of the Kool-Aid Mafia.
I did.
Todd Monken. What say you?
I didn't see this one coming. I ain't see it. Boys and girls, you know, listen, I told you. Crystal ball, I said, man, I did not see this coming. I did see if Jim Schwartz got the position, I thought he may pivot and they may make him the offensive coordinator. But turns out it was vice versa. They went out and got Todd Monken, and now he about to be the head coach. So I completely, this was out of left field for me. Like, I wasn't, like we said, I'm not surprised at too much anything that they would do because the Browns do a lot of different things. And like they drafted Mason Graham when Travis Hunter was on the board. So after that, I said, I will never, ever in my life. They drafted Carson Schwarzenegger. I said, who is that? I don't even know who that is. So in this search, they go get Todd Monken, and I'm interested in hearing what it is Andrew Berry had to say and Jimmy Haslam said as to why they moved in this direction. What are some things that they liked from Todd Monken that really gave him the opportunity to become the next head coach? Just from me watching, there's a couple of things that you can say are positives. I guess Todd Monken, if you look at it from a perspective of Lamar Jackson won an MVP under him. He did a great job, calling offensive plays. Was he at Georgia?
He was at Georgia when they won a national championship.
Won a national championship as a play caller at Georgia. Has been a part of some, really good offense. He's a seasoned offensive mind. Doesn't have the head coaching experience. Don't know very much about the personality. But if you look at it offensively speaking, he does have some things to write home about. I know people in Baltimore talk about him not giving Derrick Henry the ball at the end of the game and doing things like that. Don't worry, we'll be on him too if he decides to just fumble that bag. But I didn't see it coming. So, this is one of them ones where I'm just like, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm super interested in hearing the press conferences as to how this thing transpired.
Oh, they'll tell you he was their first choice. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, they can't sell that to us.
No. Well, they will try, and people will buy.
Yeah,
Some people will buy into it.
I mean, this guy was the offensive coordinator of the Ravens in the playoffs. Or, the end of the year. Yeah.
When they've fallen on their face.
They fall on their face.
Yeah.
And no one thought that this guy was getting fired. Harbaugh was getting fired. Look, I'm not going to be overly critical about the hire because I said that from day one. Like, no matter who they hire, I'm not going to go over the top crazy, like happy or sad. Going to give it some time. I've had a few interactions with Todd Monken. He is a very diet vanilla guy. Like, he's not a huge personality, which doesn't mean that he will be a bad coach. I mean, he's been coaching forever. It's just a little head scratching, guys, because you fired Kevin Stefanski, who's, the winningest coach since you've been back, and that doesn't really mean anything. But are we sure that this is better? I don't know that we can say that today.
Yeah. Now, once the season starts, preseason,
Sure.
whatever. Obviously, we're going to give him a chance. I'm not going to say there's no chance.
No.
On today, this is beyond embarrassing. The Browns is the Browns. That expression was used. There's no more perfect summary for that. First of all, if I'm Jim Schwartz, I'm out of here. I'm gone. This is to me, this is the biggest slap in the face to Jim Schwartz. At least if they hired a young guy, if you're the Browns, you could set. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has a good relationship with Monken. Maybe he wants to stay.
Real quick, Schefter did tweet out, and I just want to mention this today.
Yeah.
And Mary Kay put it in her article too. There's a good chance Schwartz stays on as DC.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So maybe it doesn't matter. If I were Schwartz, I'd be highly insulted by this, because at least with the young guy, you could sell, hey, we want a coach that can be the head coach for a long time. Jim Schwartz is still under contract to Cleveland. The team wants him. That's a big difference from what you said, Mike.
Mary Kay said the same. I'll read exactly what Mary Kay
because
said.
that doesn't mean he wants to stay.
That means the Browns want him to stay.
That means the Browns may, And by the way, if he wants to leave, some team can offer him assistant head coach, and he could get out with a promotion.
Mary Kay's words were, he will try his hardest, and you're right, I actually misinterpreted. He will try his hardest to keep Jim Schwartz, one of the other Browns finalists, as his defensive coordinator.
So
I read that wrong.
Both of those things are not saying. If I'm Jim Schwartz, so now, for all the fans that wanted Jim Schwartz to stay or Jim Schwartz to be head coach, almost everybody wanted one or the other. And maybe he's going to be here. Who knows? But I think with this hire, it's your best chance of losing him. Because, again, with a young guy, you could sell it.
Yeah.
Todd Monken's an old guy. Todd Monken, nobody. When's the last time somebody even interviewed him for a head coaching job besides the Browns?
I'll do my research. Give me 2 minutes.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened over the years, but the last few years, I don't remember Todd Monken being interviewed.
No,
he's almost
in college.
60. He's 60 years old. He's been a coordinator for 1,000,000 years. Nobody's ever wanted him as a head coach. Now again, I reached out to somebody, and let me see before I say anything. I'm trying to get a clear answer. I probably should have reached out to this person earlier, but I'm trying to find out what the truth is. Did Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson really have a beef? Because for all of you who want Shedeur Sanders to be the quarterback, this does not signal to me that they're interested in sticking with Shedeur Sanders. I could certainly be wrong, but that's not what it also signals to me that the Browns feel like we're going to suck the next couple of years anyway. Let's hire a coach that can be a veteran, hold steady, and then we fire him in 2 years for the real coach.
I hate that was my first thought with this too.
Shedeur?
They got the dome coming in a couple years. It feels like the placeholder until you get your staff and your team in place for the dome, which sucks. Which sucks to even think could be a possibility.
But the only thing I'll say against that, and I just brought it up, is, well, then why didn't they just hire Jim Schwartz if that was it?
Or keep Kevin for another year or two.
This is baffling to me. I hate it. Again, I'm going to give him a clean slate after today and give him a chance. But on today, I didn't like the idea of hiring Jim Schwartz, but I would have liked it more than this.
I don't read into it about the hire. I don't know how hiring Monken has anything to do with whether or not they like Shedeur Sanders or not.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do you guys think that this would signal that they're not going to? Because if he didn't get along with Lamar,
yes,
how does that mean he won't get along with Shedeur?
The Ravens were reportedly interested in Shedeur in the draft too, and Monken was the OC. So that actually, I think,
we don't know if that's true either, but it could be because Lamar Jackson, like Shedeur Sanders, obviously not the same kind of players. Lamar Jackson's a way more talented, better player, but they're both non-traditional quarterbacks in a way. Like Shedeur at his best he plays his best football out of rhythm, right? Or at least he has to this point in his career.
I don't know.
I think Lamar Jackson is a well-rounded quarterback. He can throw, he can run, he can do a lot of things. I think he's just dynamic. I wouldn't say that Shador's game is the same as Lamar Jackson's.
I'm not saying it's the same. It's not the same at all. It's just non-traditional. Lamar Jackson's game is non-traditional. That doesn't mean it's not good. Non-traditional doesn't mean bad.
I wouldn't say. I guess
nobody else can run like Lamar Jackson. Nobody. It's not traditional because most players aren't the athlete that he is.
I mean, Josh Allen runs. Jalen Hurts runs.
You think there's a lot of
Jaden Daniels runs. There's
no quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
No,
Nobody.
but there's a bunch of people that can either do run or pass. They still excel at both. I think more than that, not right now. Yeah. The norm is guys who can move rather than guys who are traditional. I can't move. I'm Kirk Cousins. I stand back there like a statue.
But Lamar Jackson is one of one. I mean, this past year he didn't really run, and we'll see going forward. He was hurt this year, but he's been one of one. You're taking this as if it's some sort of insult.
No,
it's not an insult.
No, it's no insult. I'm just what I'm
saying. Josh
saying.
Allen has a different type of game than I would actually say. Josh Allen is a non-traditional quarterback too.
I think that's that's a sidebar.
Okay,
but I do think
maybe I'm wrong about the Shador Sanders angle of this.
I think like he's gonna come in. The thing that I would give him credit for is I watched Georgia a ton in college, and Dustin, I know you watched them a lot too. Georgia has a very diverse offense. They do some things. They run the football. He's had good offenses, especially Lamar Jackson was MVP while he was there.
I mean, but Lamar Jackson was MVP before he was there too.
Hey, but if he was there,
he had his best season really before he was there. He didn't develop Lamar Jackson.
I'm just saying, but he could have regressed Lamar Jackson. There's been plenty of times where people go somewhere and you inherit a quarterback and it don't look as good as it used to other places. I just got to give him credit for having the status quo. If Lamar was good before I got here, what did I do when he got here? Well, he won an MVP when I was here. So, his offensive mind is something that you can't knock or diminish. I just think he just wasn't a name that a lot of people were expecting.
I totally disagree, by the way, that you can't knock. The Ravens' offensive game plans under him in the playoffs have been arguably the worst in the entire league. How could you argue that? They've gone away from Derrick Henry. They've been pass happy. You know this, G. They've been pass happy in the playoffs.
I say this.
Yeah.
The same way Kevin Stefanski got hired.
Yeah.
He came with some baggage. They hired Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta.
He came with no baggage, Kevin Stefanski.
There was no
baggage.
Play calling baggage?
There was no play calling baggage. What play calling baggage?
He didn't have a bag. His play calling was terrible. His playbook was trash. What do you mean?
No, it wasn't. There was no baggage. We didn't talk about that at all.
Nobody talked about how bad Kevin Stefanski's playbook was.
No, he had been an OC for 1 year.
No, I'm talking about while Stefanski was here.
Oh, but what does that have to do with anything?
Well, what I'm saying is...
He didn't have any baggage coming in like this guy
So
does.
what I'm saying is, everywhere you go, if you're at another stop with another team, obviously there's some things that you did to get fired. Somebody else was like, hey, they fired you, but we saw the good in you. Let's bring you to Atlanta. So the same can go for Todd Monken.
Right, but the difference is Todd Monken got fired by a good franchise. Kevin Stefanski got fired by a bad franchise. And Todd Monken, isn't it fair to say he did as bad a job in the playoffs as any game caller in recent years?
I mean,
unless you want to blame Lamar Jackson, I don't.
I mean, he abandoned the run. I said it a lot of times. He abandoned the run a couple of the times with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not sitting here putting the cape on for Todd Monken. All I'm saying is, I'm trying to extrapolate and think what they was thinking of when they went ahead and drafted him or went ahead and put him on the roster and say he was a head coach. I don't know why they picked him or how he got to the top of the food chain. So for me, I'm just interested in seeing what come out afterwards so we can see, because to me, I think it will be super interesting because you do have Jim Schwartz, and he interviewed twice. And if Jim Schwartz is still going to be on that roster, then evidently he had to have known that they were going in a different direction.
All right, what do you guys think about this? 2019, article from The Athletic. Zach Jackson wrote this. Speaking of disgruntled offensive coordinators, Todd Monken's one season with the Browns was a disaster. Monken had the offensive coordinator title, but Kitchens called the plays, and it was clear Kitchens and Monken were never on the same page. Multiple sources told The Athletic that late in the season, Monken would spend time on the field before games telling opposing coaches how bad things were with the Browns, calling the team a total mess, and saying that Kitchens' Sunday play calling generally steered away from most things that had been in the game plan from Wednesday to Saturday. Does that Does that make you
Wait,
happy?
can you read the beginning of that again?
And Zach's coming on at about 11:45.
Yeah, we'll ask Zach
so
about
we'll
that.
ask Zach about
Give me that one more time.
Speaking of disgruntled offensive coordinators, Todd
Yeah.
Monken's one season as the Browns' offensive coordinator.
Right.
Him and Kitchens didn't get along. But
Yeah.
multiple sources told The Athletic that late in the season, Monken would spend time on the field before games telling opposing coaches how bad things were with the Browns. You hired that guy back? I'm just saying.
That's kind of nuts.
No, that's why it worked.
Zach
This
Jackson.
was Zach's article. I'll send it to you.
All right.
Oh, that's why it worked. We got to hear from that. We got
So-
we got to hear from that. What's
Wow.
going on?
Did a little research, Bull.
Yeah.
I can't find the exact teams he interviewed with. However, Ian Rappaport tweeted this out on January 6th of this year. Sources, Ravens offensive coordinators received a request to be interviewed for the Browns head coaching job. He received multiple requests last year, should again this season. He did interview for the Michigan head coach opening, which ended up going to Kyle Whittingham of Utah. I wanted to ask you guys this. Darryl Ryder, who a friend of the show, tweeted this out.
Daryl is not. I love Dustin and I and G all know Daryl and love him. He's not a friend of the show.
He's a friend of the people of the
Because
show.
nobody from the fans is
Comes
allowed
on.
to be a friend of
friend
the
of
show.
the people of the show.
All right, friend of the people.
He tweeted this out.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your guys' take
Yeah.
on it is. Daryl said, and I quote, "This is just my take," a.k.a. Daryl. "Ownership wants Jim Schwartz. Andrew Berry wants Nate Scheelhaus, and keeping Todd Monken a finalist calms the narrative and gives cover for a disagreement between ownership and the top football executive." Just my opinion.
Nah, I think Daryl's wrong there. This is not an Andrew. There's no way Andrew Berry made this hire. I will not believe that, no matter who tells me what. So I don't believe he.
Who made the hire?
You think Andrew Berry, the nerd GM, which I love. I say that with love, even though I think he's terrible at his job. But I like nerds. I'm pro nerd. You think he decided that a team that pays attention to analytics more than any other, this has been reported multiple times. Anybody within the organization knows this. They're obsessed with the data. That he thought Todd Monken was, the data's telling him Todd Monken's the best choice. By the way, I got a text. I asked somebody who would know. I said,
Adam, what if no one else wanted the job?
well, wouldn't Jim Schwartz want it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway, let me just read this before we go on. I asked somebody that would know. I said, "What's the reality? Did Monken and Lamar Jackson, was it real, a beef between them, or is it baloney?" And the person said, "Monken is very straightforward," which I actually like. That's a positive to me. Maybe that rubbed Lamar Jackson the wrong way, because if he was critical, I don't know. This person says it's more BS than real, but not completely BS. But I also believe coaches and players aren't supposed to be best friends. That's what I was told. So there you go.
So as I sit there, I'm trying to put myself in their position and see where they was thinking about the rationale, because we won't know until they come out and tell us. So I'm looking at it from this perspective. You got Scheelhaus, you got Udinski. You don't know how they felt about Scheelhaus and a guy being a first-time head coach and skipping multiple tiers. So maybe we were just high on some of the young guys because their names and they got a little juice to them, right? So when you go and you say, okay, well, those guys, I'm not comfortable, especially as they go through the interview process. Some things might came up and say, I'm not comfortable giving the keys to the castle to one of the young dudes. So now you go back and look and say, we got Jim Schwartz and we got Todd Monken. Out of all the other veteran coaches out there, the Mike McCarthys of the world,
I'd rather have Mike McCarthy, and I don't like him. I'd rather have Anthony Lynn.
So we don't know if he might still be on the staff. I don't know. But here's where I'm going with it. If you make Jim Schwartz the head coach, right, that's a defensive-minded head coach, right? And you still would have the dividends of him having buy-in from the defensive side of football, right? But if you don't make him the head coach and somehow you keep him on staff, you still keep all of the benefits. There's all the benefits and not really much downside. He's still the defensive coordinator. You'll still have buy-in on the defensive side of the football. I think if you splitting hairs and you're going between Todd Monken, not to say I agree with it, but if you're going with Todd Monken, you're doing it because you want somebody that you feel is a person that is a person that's going to coach up guys, and they do want him to be very direct. They want him to be very direct and hands-on with the quarterback room, and they need a little bit of discipline in that room in terms of getting those guys up to speed and making him have an idea of what he wants to see. Plus the fact that you got Shedeur Sanders, you got Dylan Gabriel, even Deshaun Watson. You know, some of the things that they do best in throwing the football came in college. College game plans is completely different from pros. He has an experience and track record of being able to relate to college guys. He won a national championship as a play caller. And he's also worked with guys that move around and can make plays outside of the pocket. You have Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders who do some of those things. So maybe they looked at it as they wanted a head coach that can speak directly to that room and put a little bit of, I would say, structure involved. So that's why they went with an offensive guy with some experience rather than a defensive guy, especially if you can keep Jim Schwartz and you still have the add a bonus of him having a top-ranked defense and they know what to do over there.
Wouldn't you think, guys, that you'd want to like know Jim Schwartz's thoughts before this is done? Like
Maybe the Browns have.
Like wouldn't you run it by him?
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz, like
if Jim Schwartz
because
leaves,
here's the thing: if Jim Schwartz doesn't take the gig, then who's this guy bringing in?
Yeah, that would be the alarming thing.
Like, what's the selling point for Todd Monken?
Is this a disaster if Jim Schwartz leaves?
If you got Todd Monken,
I think it is.
You got Todd Monken, and one of your biggest chips on the board was the fact that you wanted to keep Jim Schwartz. I think that would be disappointing because you lose the advantage of saying, hey, just worry about the offense. Let the defense take care of what the defense is and keep it the same.
Yeah.
But now if you do that, you got to have a brand new defensive coordinator, it's a brand new everything, and then you're worried about guys like Myles Garrett being like, man, come on now. I don't know if I'm signing up for this. So, yeah, that would be kind of disappointment. I ain't going to lie about that.
You would just think they would have their ducks in a row before this comes out. You know,
they
like,
had to talk to him,
like,
Dustin.
That's what I'm
Did
saying.
they?
I mean, don't you think Schefter would know?
Yeah. Schefter was
He's
like,
the one that would know.
I hope so. They want to keep him. But how could you not be-
okay. But if you're the Browns, you actually can dictate to this guy, be like, hey, if you want this job, you're going to keep Jim Schwartz as coordinator. I don't love that idea.
Yeah.
Like to force something on somebody.
Right.
But
he
they
would
have.
Do it. He would do it. The young guys might not do that.
Maybe not. But the point is the Browns could be able to do that. Otherwise you're stuck without a DC and you got this great defense.
But Jim Schwartz, if I'm another team right now, I'm calling up Jim Schwartz and making him a DC/assistant head coach.
Yeah,
because the Browns can't stop him. If he becomes assistant head coach, the Browns cannot stop him from leaving.
Or who currently is the Browns assistant or associate head coach?
What's that?
Do you know who is currently the Browns associate
head coach?
Bubba
Ventrone. Great job. I think they had to do that to get him from Indianapolis.
They did.
So the Browns don't control him. As long as somebody willing, you're telling me there's not a team that would give him that promotion? 100%.
Maybe the Ravens would.
Who's the Ravens head coach now?
Minter, right?
He's a defensive guy.
I know, but still.
I think also.
I bet you the Falcons. Well, they like their DC.
If you ask Jim Schwartz, I think Jim is probably. I ain't gonna say he's content, but I'm sure the Browns will say, "Hey, I got a bag of money for you. You already got the pieces in the part. You can do whatever you want to over here."
You think he'd be content? If I'm him, I think they screwed me over.
Some people is different.
He wanted to be the head coach, though.
Yeah. There's a lot of he went through 2 processes and 2 interviews.
Just because he interviewed doesn't mean that you're interviewing them too to some degree.
Yeah.
To see if you want the job.
Right, but if he didn't want it, doesn't he want to leave? Like if I'm him, I'm out.
You want to start over?
I have no idea.
Why start over? What are you going to start over? How's that going to hurt him to start over?
Sometimes when you get older, you don't feel like being hopping around from like you're an assistant.
Does Buffalo have a DC yet?
To my knowledge,
no. Hopefully they're gonna hire Jim Leonard.
They should hire Jim Schwartz. No,
he was a reported heavy favorite for that.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Leonard.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Half the teams in the league would fire their DC to hire Jim Schwartz.
But
I want Leonard back.
But here's the thing about him here. Now I don't know if he's gonna stay or not, but he gets to do whatever he wants here.
So he would it anywhere.
You don't know that.
Most likely.
You're here.
Yeah.
They give you a raise. You're comfortable. You got one of the best defenses in the league. You got all the guys you already know. You done handpicked half of them.
But what did it do? It didn't do him any good. He didn't get a head coaching job out of it.
Hey, if he didn't get the head coaching job, I don't think he's gonna go scorched earth. Maybe he's mature about it.
I don't. How's that mature? It's not mature to stay with a team that insulted you.
How do you know? Maybe he's not insulted.
He might not be, but I'm saying you wouldn't be surprised if he was.
Yeah, but I also it could go either way.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea what's going through his mind. I know the guys in their 60s think differently than we do.
Yeah, we just talked to Coach Patton. Coach Patton was like, "Listen, man, I got children. My parents is getting up there. I'm cool. I'm gonna spend some time with my people.
Right,
like a lot of times, everybody may have a little itch to do certain things, right? And if you put your name in a hat, and if it don't come around, okay. But you know what can make it better? Hey, you just gave me a boatload of money because I'm sure they gave him an extra.
Anybody
bag.
would give him a boatload of money, no?
It's always easier. It's always easier to get a job when you already got a job.
He would never have a problem getting the job. Going back to your other thing about what you said about the young guys, maybe they decided, they didn't have enough experience or whatever, which is possible. If you had to bet all your money right now that those guys turned the Browns down or the Browns turned them down,
I'd bet every dollar they turned the Browns down.
So would I. G?
Yeah, I think a lot of them, especially Udinsky and a lot of them, yeah, I think there's quite a few of them. It's like, no, I got better offers here. I'm gonna do something else.
Mike,
They turned the Browns down.
most likely.
It's hard to look at it any other way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's hard. Maybe it's not true. It's just hard to see.
They flew
the
to Los
progression of
Angeles
what
to interview
happened.
this guy. Like, they wanted this guy.
Yeah.
Like, for them to not have him on the jet back to Cleveland with him,
Yeah.
I feel like he said no.
I think it will be weird if Schwartz ends up leaving, and maybe he's not. It seems crazy to me. To me, if Schwartz leaves now, it's just a new level of blundering by the Browns, because throughout this whole process, we were told, and Jimmy Haslam said it, that they wanted to keep Schwartz.
His words were absolutely.
Yes,
He's a great
and
coach.
we assume likely that the young guys were kind of like, I don't want to be forced into an assistant coach, and now you hire this veteran that nobody's excited about. And if you lose Schwartz, to me, it's a total disaster.
Well, if the owner came out and said, absolutely, we want him here, right, then that leads you to believe that they've had the conversation with Monken as well as Jim Schwartz. Like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is what's going to go down, and you'll be here. Right, now, if he don't, that means it's backwards, because you said he's going to be here, and you hire somebody else, obviously, that he didn't get along with or didn't like. Right. So now he's rolling too.
Right, but when they said that, they didn't know who the head coach was going to be. So obviously they want to keep Jim Schwartz. The only question is, does he want to stay? Because I don't even think there's got to be a team, at least one, if not more teams, that would try to steal him away by making him assistant head coach. I don't even think that's in question. The only question is, does he want to stay? I'm hoping the Browns were smart enough, and that's a crazy thing to hope, because usually they're stupid, but I'm hoping they were smart enough that they got the okay from him that he would stay before they did this. But if he leaves, that's another level of clown show at this point.
So,
go ahead.
You know Ari Mirov, My Sports Update on Twitter?
Yeah.
I follow him. Is he a real person? He might be an AI.
No, he is a real person. He does a podcast. It's actually it's tied with the 33rd team. He's a real person. He tweeted this out a second ago. I just want to just read this. And it gets cut off because you guys know why, but I'm going to read the full tweet. You can only see the first 85% of it. He said, an issue that came up during the Brown search was that some candidates wanted to bring their own staff altogether. The idea of getting married to Jim Schwartz as DC wasn't for everyone, regardless of how great he's been. It also worked the other way around. It was unclear whether Schwartz would want to remain the DC with some of the head coach candidates Cleveland brought in. The situation was complex, and it remains to be seen what happens next.
So that kind of denotes that's very interesting, because the opposite way around, Dustin, when he's talking about it, it seems like they don't have a clear picture on whether or not
They don't know what the hell they're doing. Let's be honest.
Why would you not? If you wanted to keep Jim Schwartz, you have to know from his mouth. You can't think about it. You got to know straight up, hey, if we do this, you're going to stay.
100%.
We got you on the dotted line. We cool with this? But that, from that perspective, if that report is true, you playing with fire, because you want to keep him, but other people that you are coming in for the interview for you, they don't want to be married to that idea.
Man, I just would love to know what's going on behind the scenes. Like, what are these conversations like? Because it sounds like they gave Jim Schwartz power in the coaching search. Like, hey, what do you think about these guys?
So real quick, this from Jeremy Fowler. I just saw this a second ago. The Browns notified Rams assistant Nate Shieldhouse this morning they were going in a different direction. He plans to stay with the Rams and be a factor for next head coaching cycle. This was before the actual hire because the tweet continues and finishes with, we'll see what happens with Jim Schwartz, but one source told me Todd Monken and Schwartz had similarities as coaches and could work well together. Here's the full tweet from Jeremy Fowler. So they told Shieldhouse no this morning.
Team source told them. Yeah, who knows? Hey, listen, maybe Jim Schwartz is content. I can't imagine wanting to stay after this, but maybe he will.
If I look at it from a perspective of, we laughed about it yesterday. If they say assume they do bring back Jim Schwartz, well, you ain't got to worry about no accountability stuff with them two dudes. These two dudes, I called it no fun. I said, Dustin, they ain't gonna have no fun out there if you got Todd Monken and Jim Schwartz. It's gonna be like you going back to old school. Like,
but we don't know. We don't know what Todd Monken is. He's never led a team.
Well, we know he's straightforward and he's a grumpy version of Kevin Stefanski.
But we hated Kevin Stefanski.
Hey, listen, I don't know what to tell you what he's gonna do.
You said we hated Kevin Stefanski?
I'm saying, like, we, the general we.
We hated losing.
G. Bush does the general we a lot. I want to use the general we.
Use that general we. Yeah, we had problems with Kevin. We had issues with Kevin. Everybody
we had issues with them not winning enough games.
Right. So and that's the thing too.
All right, listen, you got to live with him. He's gonna,
Listen,
for now.
We all said it. Listen, I'm the Kool-Aid Mafia general. I said, when y'all asked me who's the worst person,
you said Todd Monken.
I said, dang, I don't want.
And now you're making a lot of excuses.
Nah, I'm just really cashing in what I told you, even though it hurts.
You try to be glass half full.
Nah,
I understand.
I told you before. Yeah. We all said it. Whoever they pick, you gotta give them an opportunity.
We do. We don't. I don't feel like we have to today, but after today, we have to give him a chance.
You can voice your opinion, but
we have to give him a chance.
If I'm gonna say I don't want Kevin Stefanski to be here and he going on to other places, they hire somebody new because they thought he was the best for the job. Yeah. I can't in 2 days be like, get him out of here too. That make me look wild and crazy.
I actually, and I liked Kevin Stefanski for a while. I soured on him very much the last 2 years. I would rather Kevin Stefanski still be head coach, personally.
Well, that's literally what I was going to ask you next. Let me do a read real quick, and then we'll get back to it. We got 7,000 people watching right now. It's going to be a new record we've set. Appreciate all you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help us make UCSS as big as we possibly can. We'll get Zach Jackson here in about 10-ish minutes, give or take, for his thoughts on the Browns head coaching hire. But, Dustin, you didn't really give us your 2 cents on that, but are the Browns better off today with Monken, or in hindsight, now that we know how the coaching search has come to a conclusion, well, the Browns been better off just keeping Kevin Stefanski and I guess running this back for another year?
I mean, I would have, unless there was some serious internal dysfunction between Kevin and Schwartz. I mean, maybe there was. Maybe Kevin and Schwartz didn't get along. And maybe they were like, you know what, Jim, we'll get rid of Kevin and we'll try to figure out, we'll get somebody in this role. I don't know. I would personally would rather have Kevin Stefanski still be the coach. But that's just me. If given this option, like this situation, 23 days, this coaching process to find a coach, and it didn't work out with any of the young guys that you thought, I mean, I would have just kept Kevin Stefanski. Now hindsight's 2020, we know that. We'll see. We'll give Monken a chance. Mm-hmm. We'll give him a chance.
Yeah,
it just does not make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's one of them things where it's like, you look at Kevin Stefanski's track record and what he was able to do here. And at the end, it just came to a point where you felt like time had run its course. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm not going to go back and say hindsight is 20/20 because I don't know what Todd Monken is going to bring to the table. I don't know what his future will hold with the Cleveland Browns. So when I got to look at it, I got to just say, well, if I know this isn't working, I can't be afraid to let somebody go based on my fears of them not living up to what the person here did. So I got to do what's best and say, I'm going to make a clean cut. I'm about to go in a different direction. and let's make the different direction better than we had while Kevin was here. So for me, even though it's not the top name that I would have picked, I can't go back and say now, I wish I would have Kevin Stefanski, because it was not working with Kevin. It wasn't working. It wasn't putting you in a position where you can have a trajectory where you can see yourself getting to a Super Bowl. So you made the move. You got a guy. And now I just have to live with it and see what's going on with that.
So the thing with, I'm texting G. Bush, by the way. I'm making his phone blow up.
Who has
G,
your
put your
phone
phone on vibrate,
on
please.
sound these days?
G. Bush.
The one person I've ever.
But it's my fault because I texted him.
Jeez Louise.
I had to ask him a question.
Because you when you mute your phone, you can pick who not to mute it from.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you like 5 or 6 people. So,
Well,
so
you are
really,
high on the totem pole for him. His favorites there.
I
appreciate that.
I mean, it's
You get a notification.
Yeah, people from work get notifications
Yeah.
because they might need that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Anyway.
You're in mine too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't mute specific. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, Kevin Stefanski. Would I have stuck with him?
Yeah.
It's silly to say it, but if I had to do it over right now, as much as I wanted Stefanski gone, and I don't think he's the answer, and there was too much losing, and it was like, I feel like you hit such rock. Like, I thought they'd get one desirable candidate that would take the job, or they'd want. But the fact that, and again, I obviously could be totally wrong. Todd Monken might do a great job. Who the hell knows? But right now, the way this process went, my bet would be on Stefanski being a better coach than Todd Monken. Unfortunately, the ship has sailed.
Real quick, poll for the panel here. Will Todd Monken survive? Will he be here for 3 years?
Jeez.
By the way, 3 years would get you to the 2029 season, which is when the Dome is supposed to open.
No, 3 years would get you.
26,
if you got fired after
6,
3
7,
years,
8.
you would not get to the 29.
That's what I'm saying. So 2029 is 4 years from now.
Right.
So it would get you up until the year where you're going into the
I'm
Dome.
going to say yes.
You think he'll make it to the new Dome?
Well, I'm going to say yes because, say, for instance, he doesn't have a good year this year. Next year, they'll probably be drafting highly. And if you draft highly, that means you're going to have a quarterback. So then you have a rookie quarterback. If you're drafting highly during that time period, they don't be wanting to move on from coaches after they just drafted a quarterback. So that at least gives them 2 right there. He would have to fall completely on his face if in that case scenario, because he's only been here 2 years, he would have to be 3 and something or 2 and something.
I don't know.
Next
They just
year.
fired Callahan in Tennessee after taking Cam Ward #1 overall.
But I
Same
will
year.
give
and
Jimmy
they just
credit.
fired Brian Dable this year too.
Jimmy came off giving somebody 6 years. I mean, 3 is half of that. So I'm seeing in Jimmy that he's not willing to be as quick on the trigger as he was before. 3 years, it's a possibility could go, but I would say yes, that he will probably be here in 3 years.
What about 4 years? When they open the Dome.
He will not be the coach of the Browns.
The question is in 2029.
When they go into the Dome.
When they play Week 1 at home in the Dome, will Todd Monken
He will not be the head coach.
I don't think so.
He will not be the head coach.
In fact, I think he's more likely to be fired after 1 year than make it to the Dome.
Totally agree.
Because if they suck this year, you have and if they blow it,
they'll have the #1 pick.
Unless he does another brilliant draft and draft.
It'd be hard for them to have another brilliant draft and suck to the capacity I think you're alluding to.
So, then you got to fire Andrew Berry. It's enough already. And then you got to bring in a new coach, too.
If it's another 3 and 14
3 to 5 win season.
Whatever, okay. Something like that.
Yeah.
They'll fire him after 1 year. They'll can Berry.
Right.
They'll draft Arch Manning #1 overall.
That's right.
And they'll find a coach that wants that guy.
Right.
Or that Arch likes or whatever. I mean, they'll figure that whole thing out.
I don't know that I want to.
I don't know. But I'm just telling you that's what they'll do.
Right. That I think there's a better chance he makes it 1 year than 4.
And Peyton will be your GM.
1 year is, gosh, oh man. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
Now, if he does come in and he overachieves, because when Kevin Stefanski came in his first year, they overachieved. What was Kevin Stefanski's record the first year he was here?
I believe 10-6, right?
Yeah. Now they had a better quarterback, at least more proven quarterback.
So they go 10 and 6. If he overachieves and gets, I don't know, 8 wins, 7, 8, 9 wins, I think that's going to put him in position where he's definitely going to see the Dome.
If they have 8 wins or more, yes, he probably makes it to the Dome. I just would heavily bet against that right now. And yeah,
I don't get the sense that Todd Monken's going to be long for the turmoil that he has to endure here in Cleveland. He doesn't have any idea how bad it can get in that building.
Well, he was here for 1 year, and he was part of the turmoil by stabbing Freddie Kitchens in the back.
Correct, and I'm sure he'll do the exact same thing again. Don't you think?
Who's going to stab him in the back this time? He's
Jim
the head
Schwartz?
guy.
Jim Schwartz?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I want to be positive about it, guys. I really do. I don't want to sit here and be negative Nancy. I apologize. But it's hard not to. I mean, we've been doing this every year. I mean, since 2011, you and I have been covering the Browns in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And every time they hire somebody, we go, well, we'll be here longer than you.
Yeah.
And we still are.
Yeah.
Not that I'm proud of that, but it's just, I wish we had a coach that could be here for 18 years.
The only person that's been here longer than us is Antonetti and Chernoff. That's it.
Yeah.
And they've been promoted. Nobody else.
Were they here in 2010?
They were, but they were, Antonetti was the GM.
Yeah.
And Mark Shapiro was the president. And I'm not sure if Chernoff was here yet by that point.
Anyway.
I don't know, but Antonetti was.
Aditi, friend of the show who covers not just the Browns, but all of the AFC North. So she's been around Todd Monken, tweeted this out a second ago. I'm curious. The second part of this, I'm curious what you guys think. Aditi tweeted out, next question for the Browns. Does Jim Schwartz agree to stay in Cleveland as the DC? The org very much wanted him to, but my understanding is he never committed to do so if he wasn't chosen as the head coach. Todd Monken offered a clear offensive plan, and that ultimately won out, I'm told. Ignore the Schwartz part of this for a second. Todd Monken offered a clear offensive plan. Do you have any idea, or could you speculate? I know it's right in the moment and putting you on the spot. What do you think this offensive plan may or may not have been?
I don't know. Go ahead, G. What do you think his offensive plan is?
Would love to hear it.
Yeah, that's maybe I'm turning to Dr. Manhattan. I need to be in a different place and time so I can understand.
Yeah.
It's kind of along the lines of what I said earlier when we was talking about what's going on with Jim Schwartz and why would you take an offensive guy over a defensive guy. Well, you kind of see it if you go back to Buffalo. There are times where, and Sean King, I'll steal this from him a little bit. He said, when he was watching C.J. Stroud in the playoffs, C.J. Stroud was looking wild. Like he looked like he had lost his confidence. He looked like he was seeing ghosts. And sometimes he said, when you have a defensive-minded head coach, those guys don't have the ability to be a quarterback whisperer in the moment because, if he had an offensive guy, he can come up to him and calm him down, say, hey, let's get back to this. Look at your footwork. Let's figure this thing out. Get back to this. Let me call this play because you like it. Those are the things that you're trying to get from the offense. And I think one of the things that could have happened is when he came in and had his homework or had his preparation for meeting with the Cleveland Browns, I guarantee one of the first things that they asked everybody was this. What is your plan? What are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? What are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? What are your thoughts on the quarterback room? And what do you think works well with their skill sets and how we can get them to get to be a better quarterback room in general? And can we find a guy that could be a franchise quarterback? From what it sounds like is he came in and had a clear-cut plan in terms of this is the way I think this person needs to be developed. This is the offense that I think we should run. These are some things that I ran in college. These are some things that I ran in Baltimore that was successful. And that plan was something that the Browns, because the whole focus point, when they came out and said, hey, the offense is the focal point. So I think him having a strong interview telling them exactly what they should do at the quarterback position, give them a little bit of a leg up on Jim Schwartz in terms of defense, especially if they could have already got the red light to keep Jim Schwartz. They probably felt it's the best of both worlds. Now, this all falls apart if Jim Schwartz leaves and you got to start over on that side of the football, and you might not get the same results defensively with some of your best players. So I think that's what he meant in terms of, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, and here's the plan I would have if I was the head coach and the play caller for these guys in this room.
All right, we're going to bring in Zach Jackson here in just a minute.
Yeah, he's going to join us. He had to move. He's down in Mobile for the Senior Bowl.
I know, he mentioned that
earlier.
earlier.
And he just had to move because the wireless is down in the convention center, so he's going to find a spot where he can call
Having internet problems in Alabama, there's a shocker. You think they'd be prepared?
Right? But no. The grids ain't like that. You know, people's power grids don't be. Hey, man, it get 35 degrees in Texas. Grids is down.
It's probably pretty cold. My mother told me, I was talking to her this morning, you know, she's down in Fort Myers.
It's
like 35 degrees there.
Yeah, this weekend in Florida, Miami's the high on Sunday is going to be 27 in Miami.
That's crazy in Miami.
Orlando's going to be 17 degrees on Sunday.
Yeah. All right.
So we put a poll in the chat.
Good thing we
there you go.
I forget.
Jacksonville's going to be 8.
We put a poll in the chat.
Yeah.
Just a simple, are you a fan of the Todd Monken hire or not?
And here come the Browns apologists.
What do you think the answer is?
What percentage of our fan base is Browns apologists?
15.
No, it's higher than that.
15 is apologists or 15 like
15 people like it.
No, more than that, because we're gonna. People are gonna.
Well,
whoever they hire.
Let me give an answer.
That are gonna spin. Yeah, you did.
15.
Okay, I'm gonna say 55% like it.
Way too high.
G. Bush?
G. Bush knows the fans better than anybody.
42%.
It was 31% said they liked it. 69% said they were not a fan. Over 2,500 votes in this poll.
All right.
We also put a second poll up, and I want to read you the results of this while we're waiting for Zach to hop on. This has about 1,700 results. Are the Browns better off with Monken than they were with Stefanski? What say you?
I'm going to say 55% again. Said yes.
Means 15% again.
46%.
58% said they are better off with Todd Monken than Kevin Stefanski. Bull, you were the closest.
I'm closest on that one.
Congratulations.
And your parting gift is a lifetime supply of ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Who do you think ultimately made the call? Who do you think was the final voice in the room saying, you know what?
Jimmy.
You think it's Jimmy?
Of course. He's the owner.
Dustin?
Come on. Everything we know about Andrew Berry, do we really believe he picked Todd Monken?
He has some say.
I don't think he has any say. I don't believe that.
I think he got say, but everybody knows when it comes down to when the rubber meet the road, it's the owner. Like, so even if he had a pick, Jimmy gonna have to sign off on that.
Yeah, the sign off is the most important part here. I mean, Jimmy Haslam's not paying this dude, millions of dollars to come here if he doesn't sign off on it.
Right. It's not gonna happen. And two, I do think it's very interesting. See, now there's this thing could go so many different ways. Is he going to call plays?
We know nothing at this point in time. We don't know who his coordinator is going to be.
The guy he's been working for, Harbaugh, was not a guy who called plays.
And Monken has called plays wherever he's been at.
I think he probably shouldn't. All right, let's bring in Zach Jackson from Mobile.
We got Zach. A quick reminder that the Cleveland Monsters are turning into the Lake Erie Monsters. They're back for one weekend only on January 30th and 31st at Rocket Arena. It starts with a 1-2-3 Friday and a Battle Together t-shirt giveaway courtesy of True North Convenience Stores for the first 5,000 fans. Then on Saturday, the first 8,000 fans receive a Zach Renensky bobblehead courtesy of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Enjoy returning players, themed jerseys, Calder Cup photo opportunities, and more in this step back into time to 2016. Tickets are on sale now at clevelandmonsters.com.
Is Zach Jackson going to have a bobblehead, Mike?
He should.
When are we getting a Zach Jackson bobblehead?
What about a Todd Monken bobblehead?
Todd Monken. Yeah, who's more likely to win a championship right now, Zach? The Monsters or the Browns?
I'm not up on the Monsters record, but I'm going to go with the Monsters pretty strong.
I have no idea what their record is, but I think that's a safe bet. Your reaction, Todd Monken, the new head coach.
Yeah, it obviously wasn't plan A, or it would have been done before this, right? Yeah. So, to me, bigger than the process, bigger than the who right now. This is not a very good job, right? And that's the reality. So it's on Todd Monken to make the best of it. The Browns did believe in him, right? They requested the interview before even the shakeup in Baltimore happened. He'd been in the building before for one disastrous year. He has produced offenses. What was it? Lamar's 41-4 2 years ago. 41 touchdown passes. The Browns have 35 touchdown passes over the last 2 seasons. So this guy has a proven track record, but this is a big fix. So to me, guys, this was about an agreement to keep Jim Schwartz. And really, this is saying that the Browns expect to win a number of games and not a total tank. You go with a guy half of Monken's age, you're letting him grow into the job. You're expecting winning on some level, and you're expecting him to be really, really good because there's not a lot of pieces. So now it's build the staff, then it's go get the pieces, and we'll have a better judge then. But this certainly was not plan A. And like I said, that doesn't mean that it's a complete disaster, but this is a bad job right now. And so we'll see where it goes.
Zach, what was the difference between Jim Schwartz and Todd Monken? Obviously, there were two of the last candidates, left standing with some sort of with the most experience. Why do you think that they chose Monken over Jim Schwartz? And B, do you think Jim Schwartz will still be on this roster or staff as a defensive coordinator?
I do. I'll start with B, Garrett. I do think so. I do think that's part of the hire. Now, I hadn't really thought about the first part of it too much, but it has to be the offense, right? It has to be that they wanted an offensive coach. So it was a strange search. It was a prolonged search for a guy that nobody else was after. They believe in what they do. The rest of us look at the results. So, but as it stands right now, I do think it will be a Schwartz-Monken combo. Now, that is mostly up to Jim Schwartz. He is under contract. Standard protocol says you let these guys go when you go. But I am under the assumption right now, an hour after the hire coming out, that Jim Schwartz will be there and that the plan was, to keep that defense intact, to keep a lot of the defensive staff, if not almost all of the defensive staff, intact. Make a hire of a young offensive coordinator who can grow into his role. And we'll see. But, it's clear they think a lot of Jim Schwartz, Garrett, but it's an interesting question because they didn't think enough of him to hire, even as they went along and didn't have other options for various reasons and kept him in the mix. Talking to him first was because he was already in the building. But to go on this process and not land on the hot young candidate, but still want to keep Jim Schwartz, it's going to be awkward. And we'll see. This whole thing is awkward.
Zach, you had an article taking you back to 2019 with The Athletic, where you said that there were multiple sources that told The Athletic that Todd Monken was on the field before games telling people what a disaster Cleveland was and that they didn't run things the way that he wanted, blah, blah, blah. Paraphrasing some of that. He was here. He saw the dysfunction, and he came back. Is he just like, man, I'm going to steal Jimmy's money? What's the idea? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, so that absolutely happened, Dustin, but that was a lifetime ago, right? The day after that happened, they fired everybody, and the days after that happened, they fired everybody. They moved along, and they had this 6-year Barry in Stefanski run. So obviously, ownership knew of him and tracked him, and it was easy because he spent the last 3 years in the AFC North. But obviously, he believes that he can win here, and that he believes that was mostly on Freddie, and that was directly in that Todd was the offensive coordinator, and not only did he and Freddie's offenses never mix, but he was saying they were doing things during the week and installing things, and then those weren't translating to the field. So I am interested to see if he's going to call his own plays or if he's going to hire a young guy to do that. The trend has been for head coaches to do that, but that absolutely happened. It's absolutely going to make its rounds today, but this is a different organization. And like I said, I'm not defending what went on here, but I think we all need to an extent to say, okay, this has to work. Like, this is what they've chosen. They're going to give it a chance to work. And what's the worst? Like, it almost can't be worse than it's been. So they believe in Todd Monken's vision, in his offensive prowess, in his ability to build and rev up offenses. So the problem here, regardless of who's the coach, is they're just in the early stages of building. But if they can do a little building, keep the defense together, and then Monken really is the guy to rev it up, then you're onto something. And we don't know that right now. But we're left here thinking that Nate Scheelhaus didn't take the job because he just wasn't comfortable with the setup. And so we're left to think that Todd Monken's comfortable with the setup, and people are like, you did a month-long search for Todd Monken?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to your point, you mentioned, and everybody's saying that obviously the Browns want to keep Schwartz, and that was part of the deal. I was saying if I were him, I'd be pissed. I'd be more pissed with this situation than I would be if they hired a young guy. At least I could understand that. You don't think he's going to want to leave? I hope he doesn't, but I think if he does, that's a disaster.
I think that's fair, Bull. I don't want to put words in his mouth because we don't know. He gave the political answer. He went through the interview process. I think if we're looking at anybody's words and the only actual evidence we have, Jimmy and Andrew didn't exactly on those Monday press conferences give the feeling that Jim Schwartz was going to be considered a serious candidate, right? And at that point, it was just starting. So this is about how they feel and what they think they can make work. And the defense was obviously always a part of that. And they should be proud and happy and excited about it. Should be disappointed that defense got wasted. So it just is interesting. Now, there's no direct link in the past from Monken and Schwartz. They're around the same age. Maybe it can fit. But it just feels like that other candidates, at least one, were not comfortable with that. And that he was. And so we'll see. So, does he get more angry now? That's a great question, but I don't want to put words in his mouth.
No.
Is there any thought here, Zach, just top of your head, kind of reading the tea leaves here with this hire, how it would affect Shedeur Sanders, if at all?
Well, his best offense is throwing the ball down the field. I think that's one of the things that Shedeur is best at. So that is interesting because we're still a month plus from getting to the how in the fix of this year. But I think when you take a step back from last year and look at the whole situation, Shedeur was a developmental quarterback, remains a developmental quarterback. He got to play almost half the season, even though he was not in the plans at all for the other half, right? And he did some good things, even in his bad games, of which there were multiple. He had good moments, good drives, good quarters in all but one. That experience should be valuable. So I'm interested to see how Shedeur comes back and handles the strengths program, the new offense, the new coaching, everything. But, I think right now, before we know what decisions are made, what realistic options, and what Todd Monken really thinks about Shedeur Sanders, I think this is probably your day one starter, or at least the guy who enters some sort of competition with an edge. That could change in March, but that doesn't appear that it's going to change in April, right? Like, it doesn't appear that the Browns are going to be in position to draft a day one quarterback. It appears that they're going to make March decisions based on who's available and what they have to spend, and that any draft decision would be about a second-round quarterback, a third-round quarterback, or maybe a 24. But I would say that this leads to Shedeur even being more likely as the day one starter or the leader at this early stage.
Zach, do you feel like the Browns, after they had the season, right? So they go out after the season, Jimmy has them, he says, about the thing about not being dysfunctional. And also, he said that they should have won more football games. When I look at this hire and, their willingness and their gun-ho-ness to keep, Jim Schwartz, and the fact that you went out and got Todd Monken, who was a seasoned play caller, not only in the professional ranks but in college, it kind of told me a little bit that maybe they wanted to establish a higher floor where if we do go get with some young guys, the two guys, Udinski and Shieldhouse, had never even called plays before. So if you bring in, Monken, who has the ability and has had some good offenses, maybe that boosts you and puts you at a level where maybe you don't lose a couple of games because of bad play calling or clock management or something along those lines. Is that one of the reasons you believe that they really could have took a look at what was going on with Monken?
Yeah. Garrett, my first read on this is that they expect to have a decent team, right? Like, this is not embracing 2027 and beyond. Like, that would have been the coach in his 30s. That would have been the nearly unprecedented hire that lacked experience at the highest level positions, right? Todd Monken has 11 years of NFL experience. He's been a coordinator on 3 different teams. He's been in good situations, bad situations. He's thrown the ball down the field. He was here in this organization. He's been in this division. And so when you look at it now, the guy about to turn 60 years old, who's been coaching since his early 20s and done all these things that you see on the screen there, pairing him with Jim Schwartz and keeping this defense together. Yes, the expectation is that the Browns should win more, right, or prepared to win more. maybe it is just a couple of breaks. Certainly it is just subtle improvements on that offense should go a long way. To me, regardless of who was going to hire here and what the other hires here, it's always been about adding pieces and retooling an offensive line that's a year behind on that process. But yeah, I absolutely read it as this front office and this ownership does not want to be winning 5 games or does not want to be playing next December out of contention. If it comes to be, it comes to be, and we'll see. But I think they expect to establish a style that's not completely ugly and hopeless on offense, but relies on the defense to muck these games up and win and create an identity here. Because frankly, through 6 years, and the Watson trade tanked this, but through 6 years, the only identity they've established is this Schwartz defense.
Zach, when you, I'm just thinking about what you said and how because they hired him, they're pushing all their chips in to some degree to try to win more now. So do you think they could be, I know you said this could be a good thing for Shedeur, and it's interesting, but is it possible that this gets them to go after a veteran? Because a veteran quarterback is going to give them a better chance to win, at least this year.
It is, Bull. Now, I wonder what those realistic options are.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're going to make a trade for Mac Jones, you're going to give up at least a semi-decent asset. You're going to need him and the 49ers on board. And you're probably going to have to win an auction to do that. Right. So it does. I think Malik Willis probably played himself into where he's going to get a multi-year contract and at least a somewhat guarantee. I mean, look what Justin Fields got last year. Now, that was a real commitment. The Jets are out of it after 1 year, but that was a real commitment. The Jets are the Jets. The Browns are the Browns. The Browns are doing this to stop being the Browns, quite frankly. So, I think it does. I think we're way far away from that. But I don't look at the Browns starting Deshaun Watson as any sort of anything other than that end last resort option. So when I look at what's realistically available and who's on the roster, I think it's Shedeur and a new addition. And I think that addition is probably more likely to come from down the line in the draft, knowing that Shedeur's on a tryout, knowing that Deshaun is still here and maybe eventually gets a tryout, or maybe that you take a chance on someone in the Trey Lance category. Right? Like the Browns have never wanted Jimmy Garoppolo and the 7 opportunities they've had to get him. If they would have gotten Shieldhouse, like they were together, they had some sort of relationship. So who's in Monken's background? Well, Jameis Winston is. Josh Johnson was the Ravens backup. Like that's not realistic. Tyler Huntley, he knows his way to Cleveland. We'll see, who that is and how that is. But I feel pretty strongly that obviously it could change. That everything points to Shedeur right now.
All right, but Zach, here's the scenario. Now you got an idea in my head about Jameis. The Browns trade a 6th-round pick to the Giants for Jameis. Mm-hmm. They trade a 1st-round pick to the Cardinals, their 24th pick. Sorry, they trade the 24th pick to the Jaguars for Brian Thomas Jr. They sign Romeo Doubs in free agency. They draft 2 offensive linemen in the 1st round. And there you go. The offense could be much improved next year with that, no?
They fixed it. You're hired, Bull. You're in. So we're going to miss you on the show. I do think that adding a veteran receiver is not like a maybe. I think it's a must. Yeah. Now, what is truly the investment? I think realistically, if a Brian Thomas Jr. or a a Marvin Harrison Jr. is available, I think you pursue that. But what actually is the cost? What are the other suitors? I don't know. But like I said, I'm surprised by this hire on many levels. But one of them is I thought just hiring the young guy was an easy way to subtly wrap your arms around where you were and go for that job security. If you're in the front office, which you somehow have, but you probably shouldn't because you've done nothing to earn it. Whereas now my initial read on this, and it's still January, and no moves can be made till March 9th. My initial read in this is the Browns expect to win a number of games, a number that's higher than what they've been doing, and they expect this defense and what eventually will be a much improved offense to create better results. And we'll see if they're right. I mean, Todd Monken's offenses have been good, but look at the pieces. And the Ravens had offensive line problems this year especially. Obviously, Lamar was the biggest thing. The Browns have offensive line problems, as in they don't really have many NFL offensive linemen under contract.
Zach, totally unfair hypothetical. If the Browns are able to pick Arch Manning next year, will Todd Monken coach him?
That is a great question.
Loaded question.
And it's a loaded question. The answer could be no, Dustin. It could be. I mean, I think 3 wins is in play. Sure.
Yeah.
That absolutely is. But today is what, January 28th? Like, I'm much more comfortable on March 28th with conversations about what this team is going to look like and what's really going to be expected. It's just my vibe right now. If you're hiring a coach who turns 60 next week, and you're doing it in part because you were insistence on keeping the defensive coordinator who turned 60 this year, I think, right? And you look at like the investments you've already made in Garrett, in Ward, in Delpit, in having Schlesinger here, in constantly adding defensive tackle after defensive tackle. Like, you're expecting this guy to build a competent offense and turn that into something.
Zach, I got one question for you real quick. You are in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. Can you give us one thing that we should know about any of or anything that's going on in Mobile this week that would apply to Browns fans?
I can, Mike, but I want to say one other thing first, that I started to answer this before and I got sidetracked because I'm in this crowded hallway, which is why I keep looking around because it's major traffic. Todd Monken is going to bring a level of candor and bluntness to the podium and to the organization that we just hadn't seen. And obviously, as the losses mounted, people started to point that out with Stefanski. But my question is, like, is that what this organization really wanted? Because they've run from the truth. You know, and I think they did start to wrap their arms around the fact that last year wasn't going to be very good. But then they fired the coach for not winning enough. You know, so I'm interested to see how that goes. And like, you should never, ever, or rarely ever would you hire a guy and say, of course, we're only going to win a few games this year. We stink. But Todd Monken's going to come in and he's going to tell the truth about what he sees, what he expects, what's gone wrong. That's why Dustin referenced that from 6 years ago. That's a completely different lifetime ago in the NFL, but that was going on. That's who he was and who he is. So as far as being here, Mike, there's 2 things I can tell you in a short amount of time. One is one of the guys creating buzz here is Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll right down the street. Yes, Division III, the only Division II or Division III guy here. He was awesome in practice yesterday. I got to meet him real briefly. I thought I'd get to talk to him longer this morning, and that hasn't happened to this point. But he's a fascinating story, and he's fast. He can fly. He went to the American Bowl, which is for guys at lower levels just trying to get an opportunity, and he was so good he immediately got invited here, and he was so good on day one. He posted one of the top speeds. He's all over the internet. I had to wait in line just to talk with him. Frank Ross, the Houston Texans special teams coach, who's a John Carroll alum, was running up to see him, and congratulate him on being here. So it's a wild story. And secondly, it's not a great quarterback class that's here. And it's not a good quarterback class that's here. But Garrett Nussmeier is here. And a lot of people believe that Garrett Nussmeier would have been a top 20 to 40 pick in last year's draft. And he went back to LSU for his senior year. It was a nightmare. He got hurt. He turned the ball over. He didn't have a good offensive line. The coach got fired. He got benched, and then he got hurt again. So this is a big week for him. It's a big part of the process. A healthy Garrett Nussmeier is an NFL quality quarterback, I think. What do the teams think? How can he use this week in the process to make up for the lost time and show what he's worth? And then again, like in this class, could he still be drafted in the top 40? Could he still be drafted in the top 25? Sounds crazy right now, but I don't think it's out of the question because there's not a lot of quarterbacks to go around. When Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 yesterday, Mendoza was number 1. Everybody knows that's a done deal, right? The next quarterback was number 40, Ty Simpson, who also has injuries, who also only played 1 year. Nussmeier's a known commodity. His dad coaches in the league. He started multiple years at LSU, and his good is really good. So Dane Brugler, our draft guy at The Athletic, was adamant preseason that he would have had Nussmeier ahead of Jackson Dart last year.
Zach, awesome insight. Thank you. Have fun at the Senior Bowl, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you.
Can't wait to get back to the cold, guys.
Enjoy Veets. You still going to Veets?
No, I'm not going to Veets.
What's Veets?
I'm not.
It's one of the it's called
strip club,
dive bar. No. Now that it's over at the South Alabama, I know you got to go. But do guys still go out in downtown?
I'm not staying downtown, so I don't know. I have an early bedtime, and I've been on coach watch. But yeah, I'll call you tonight from downtown to let you know.
Is that establishment still open out there by the airport?
Yeah, it's by the stadium. We'll just say it's by the stadium, not necessarily by the airport. But yes. It is. But I'm not going in without you, buddy.
Okay,
Yeah,
buddy.
that's it.
Attaboy.
You're all right.
That is
Attaboy.
Zach Jackson.
All right,
We
thanks,
appreciate Zach as always. Guys, monster numbers today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow
Yeah.
us on social media. If you're new to the show, we appreciate you for tuning in, finding out about the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Help everyone out there know who we are. Listen to us when they can. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It does wonders for us. Boom.
So Zach said a lot of things. One of the things he said that stood out to me, guys, was that hiring Todd Monken is a signal that they're expecting to win more games next year. That if you hired a younger coach, there'd be more margin for error, and you have a lot. Do you? I think that makes. What does this say? Oh, welcome. Okay,
Yeah, it's been official now.
Yeah, the Browns make it official. There you go. Do you guys? Before I ask my main question, do you guys agree with Zach? I agree with him, and now that he said it, it makes sense that the Browns have higher expectations for winning than we might have thought by hiring an older coach. Do you agree with him or no?
Well, they're delusional if that's the case.
Well, whether they're delusional or not, you may be right, but do you think that's their expectation?
No.
You don't think so?
Well, I mean, maybe it is because
Yeah.
they thought they'd win more games this year.
Right.
They thought they'd win more games last year.
Yeah.
Most years they think they'd win more games because they are delusional. This, to me, just signals, honestly, nobody else wanted the job.
G. Bush, what say you? Do you agree with Zach?
Yeah, I think when I asked them a question, I think that's exactly what they think. Because you hire a coach like that who has experience. If you would have hired a younger coach, the expectation level is that you gotta go through some growing pains. They got to figure it out. And again, you're starting these young dudes off from a place where they're not even calling plays. They ain't even hit a certain level and threshold yet, let alone understanding what all the other things it is dealing with media, high-priced athletes, the media over here, the players, Miles. It's a lot of things that come into that job with that. So if you hire a guy like Todd Monken, the thought process is you raise your floor a little bit because you feel like you're going to be buttoned up a little bit more. You're going to have a little better discipline, more offense. He's been around a little bit. He knows kind of what he wants to run at different levels. So to them, whether they do win those games, rightfully or wrongly, as the Browns, everybody has to have a level of delusional. Like, to play football, you got to be delusional. You got to think that we going to come out here every day and win.
Yeah.
And
the players need to be delusional. I don't know that you want the GM or the owner to be.
The owner, they got to be able to believe that they are going to turn it around and somehow figure out how to put the right pieces together. So if you started over again and you took Monken because of his experience level, I think the more experience you have, they believe that experience translates into a higher amount of wins.
Okay,
Rightfully
which
or
maybe
wrongly.
is true. Now, and they, I think you don't want the GM and the owner to be delusional because that could lead to bad decision making.
Sure.
The players, I 100% agree. Before I continue with this line of questioning, if you will, Jimmy Haslam put out a statement. I'm sure it's filled with a lot of truths.
Let me see.
Yeah, we're gonna read the statement. This is from the
Can't wait.
Haslams, and then, Bo, I want you to get back to your line of questioning.
Yeah.
But just so everyone's on the same page, as new information comes out, I'm going to continue to present it to you guys, and we can react. But this is the statement from Browns owners D and Jimmy Haslam on the Todd Monken hiring. Quote, "We are very excited to name Todd Monken the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Todd is highly intelligent, and his experienced, innovative offensive mindset has been at the forefront of constructing productive and successful offenses at the NFL and collegiate level over the last 20 years. He's an outstanding leader and has a clear vision to lead our team as a strong communicator who values trust with his players, but also accountability and preparation. In our committee's exhaustive reference work on Todd, his commitment to player development was evident, and his tough and straightforward coaching is respected by the players and the coaches he's worked with, putting our team in position to succeed while developing our players to maximize their talents. We welcome Todd, Terry, and the rest of the Monken family back to the Browns and look forward to establishing the winning culture that will lead our team to the success our fans deserve."
I don't think any of that was in that.
Yeah, it wasn't in that clip. That was the wrong clip.
The screenshot was not what you wrote. It was different, but it doesn't matter. Mike, guys, percentage chance Jimmy Haslam composed that letter.
Wait, what did you guys? What did you guys? Hold on. What did you guys?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was similar sentiments. Forget it, Mike. I shouldn't even have brought it up. Forget it. It's not important.
Ant grabbed the one from Andrew Berry, not the Haslam.
Okay.
Oh, well, let me see Andrew Berry's. I like that one,
Well,
too.
put Berry's back up,
Yeah.
Steve. This is what Berry said. This is from
Todd
Andrew
has a
Berry.
varied and diverse background that we found a particularly appealing match for our team at this stage in its life cycle. Executive Vice President of Football Ops GM Andrew Berry said in a statement, he has a direct, demanding, and deal-oriented leadership style that will create a great incubator for a young team. His successful offensive track record at both the pro and college level with a variety of offensive systems and quarterback skill sets will allow maximum flexibility as we make several long-term investments on that side of the ball. The lessons he learned from John Harbaugh and Kirby Smart, as well as has demonstrated track record turning around Southern Miss, have shown us that he has a full understanding of what the position requires and the capacity to execute. We cannot wait to get started, and we welcome Todd, Terry, and Travis to Cleveland. Our percentage chance Jimmy Haslam wrote his own statement.
I mean, that wasn't a hard statement to write.
That one?
No.
No, that was Andrew Berry.
The other one he wrote,
Yeah.
he probably wrote it.
You think so?
It
And
wasn't
this
even-
is,
I
this
think
is
he-
the one from Haslam.
It
Yeah.
ain't even
I don't
that
have to
crazy.
read it again, but there.
I'm saying there's a 0% chance he wrote that.
I think there's a 0% chance that anybody writes
No,
these
Andrew
statements.
Berry, I bet you wrote his own.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
I doubt
You
it.
think this-
I bet you that they have a
Andrew Berry
team
speaks
of,
nerd. This is all nerd speak.
Whatever. Who gives a
No?
rip? Who? I guarantee you
Doesn't
that
matter.
Haslam at least looked at it before he said put it out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to get back to my point. If the Browns are expecting to win next year on some level, yesterday I was listening to our old buddies Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin. I was driving.
I was
around.
too.
And every once in a while you'll hear them say Adam from Rocky River because I text them during the
Yeah.
show because, whatever.
They're doing a nice job.
They are doing a nice
Yeah.
job. Except when Nick talks about his bathroom habits. That's, disturbing.
I like how
But I used to do it
JP is a
good at busting his
totally
chops.
good at busting
he's getting
stones,
very
yeah.
good at busting his balls.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. Nick said something about like 7 to 10 wins next year. And
Wait,
asked-
I got breaking news.
We have
I
breaking
got-
news. Go ahead.
breaking
The
news.
Jim breaking news. Steve, take tag word full here.
Yeah.
Please take it full, Steve. From
it
Tom
full.
Pelissero, quote, after the Browns informed defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz this morning they were passing over him to hire Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, said goodbyes in the building, and told other coaches he is not coming back. Sources tell the insiders Schwartz is under contract and Cleveland wants to retain him, but his future is now unclear.
What a clown show. Gee, even you can't defend this. Go ahead. You're up.
Well, this ain't part of the plan. Why you have to know if you sitting there talking about,
Wow.
if you wanted to keep Jim Schwartz, half of it is you got to actually have the conversation and have the communication lines be open. That if you're supposed to know that beforehand. Right? You're supposed to know what kind of temperament he's going to have in terms of whether or not he's going to be willing to stick around if you do hire, say, other coach. And, that ain't it. That ain't it. That's crazy work.
There's like
Tom Pelissero says,
Go ahead.
Dustin just handed me this, the 49ers, among others, would likely have interest in Jim Schwartz if and when he becomes available. Schwartz was in the Browns facility the past couple of days in anticipation of being named head coach.
Wow.
But he'd already told people that if he were passed over, he wasn't staying. I'll take apologies, because I'm sure there were people ripping me earlier in the show. I guarantee on the chat there were people ripping me. Schwartz is going to stay. Schwartz is going to stay. I said Schwartz would be pissed. Everybody else in here and on the chat poo-pooed that. And what, Mike?
No, Ant was talking to me and you were talking to me. I couldn't hear either of you guys at once. I have no
And
idea what Ant
everybody poo-pooed it, and I was right. Of course he's pissed.
Yeah, I agreed with you.
This was the worst possible. They are unbelievable. What a bunch of numbskulls running this team. It is incredible to me. All you said, Jimmy Haslam, I have to keep Jim Schwartz. You told these young guys, we have to keep Jim Schwartz. And then you hired a 60-year-old who's never been a head coach in the NFL over the guy who was in your own building who you said you couldn't live. And I didn't want Schwartz to be head coach. But if you're going to hire an old guy who's a huge question mark, at least hire the old guy that's done a good job here already. What a clown show.
He was telling people he was about to be the coach. That's crazy.
So he must have had a good feeling from the organization,
Yes.
which is, again, not surprising that, we had Mike Pettin on last week.
Right.
And I asked him about, Jimmy and the whole deal.
Yeah.
And he had said, well, Jimmy talks to too many people. And sometimes,
Yes.
the last person that talks to him gets the is the biggest impression left in his mind, right? And so he could have told Jim Schwartz, like, you're getting this job.
Yeah.
And then an hour later, changed his mind.
And probably part of the reason they hired Monken is because in their minds, Jim Schwartz was staying no matter what, and the other guys didn't want to be forced into. And Monken was like, "I'll take whatever. Nobody else wants to hire me."
He's 60 years old, and he's got a chance to go get this bag.
I mean, oh my
I can't hate
God.
the guy for getting the bag.
They are so stupid.
So Pelissero just tweeted this out again, and
Yeah.
he's continuing. I don't know who he's talking to, but clearly he's somewhere involved talking to someone.
49ers thing, I mentioned that already.
No, another one.
Bubba
The
Ventrone.
fallout so far of the Browns' decision to hire Todd Monken as their head coach after an extensive search.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz wants out. Bubba Ventrone not expected to return.
That, we wanted him out anyway.
Not
so,
sure
yeah.
who's all upset about that. And then Nate Shieldhouse likely staying in L.A., barring the right offensive coordinator offer. His offensive coordinator in L.A. right now, Mike LaFleur, is interviewing one of the finalists for the Cardinals head coaching job. So maybe that could be in play for Shieldhouse. But Schwartz wants out and is making it very clear. And Jeremy Fowler has also tweeted something similar, that Jim Schwartz not happy about the decision and now
Exactly.
trending more unlikely
I
to
don't know
stay.
why anybody else would have thought anyone different. It was a slap in his face.
You can't, now you put it in perspective.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario was you get a coach and you get somebody who you don't really have too much upside with. But then you not only get that coach, but then you lose the advantage you have on the defensive side of the football, because you got to at least think of it in terms of this. Denzel Ward plays his best football with Jim Schwartz.
Yes, he has.
Myles Garrett broke the sack record with Jim Schwartz. You take a look at Grant Delpit, had his best years. You take a look at Devin Bush, had his best year as a pro. Yeah. And so now the advantage you have with those guys is you get the chance to keep all that together, and you don't have to climb an uphill battle. The thing that I don't want is, this always happens. How often do we hear these guys are learning a new system? How often, defensive side, they're learning a new system.
Built-in excuse.
And so it's a built-in excuse, because now you're going to say, we learning a new system on offense. We're learning a new system on defense. We got to get used to the calls. You got to get used to the different voice. And this late in the ball game, now you got to look at it and say, okay, Todd Monken, who's your coordinator? Where's your coordinators coming from? Do you have a group of people you bringing in? You can't run a 3-4. You can't run a 3-4.
Yeah.
So everything is built on a 4-3. Even the guys you sign with Alex Wright and the guys with Mason Graham, you can't use Mason Graham in a 3-4 defense. So you have to keep it to a certain extent. It's things that they already understand, but you just put yourself in a position where now you got to learn two things at once with young players, and you don't get the same level of buy-in, because trust me, if Jim Schwartz is disgruntled, you think Myles Garrett ain't mad?
Oh,
Dude, that was my next point. Is I was going to bring up Myles and the veterans on this defense who are all going to be pissed off that he's gone.
Gosh.
And if the next defensive coordinator comes in here, it does not vibe with these guys. You know how it is, man. Man, it wasn't like this with Jim last year. I had my best year last year.
Yeah,
I mean, like, that's how it goes, guys.
And think about this now. The Browns are every other team, like, there's been 10 coach openings, all right? 7 teams have already hired new coaches. They're putting together staffs.
Right.
So now, with only Vegas and Arizona still looking for jobs, the coaches, you have to put together almost an entire staff.
Wow.
Because you need a new DC, a new OC, and a new special teams coordinator. Almost every good assistant coach is off the board.
I got to ask you guys this. Jordan Schultz just tweeted this out a second ago.
Yeah.
It goes along, but there's a question I want to ask from this. Schultz tweeted out, the relationship between the Browns and offensive Jim Schwartz will, quote, need significant repairing after he's passed over for the head coach job, sources tell me. Schwartz is currently under contract, but was anticipating getting the head coaching job. He didn't. Now there's work to do. Question, can you repair that kind of relationship, or is do you in your mind severed? Because I think it's severed. I think there's no way you can repair that.
There's no way. I mean, if he's saying goodbye to people, his mind's made up.
You don't think the Niners would say, we'll make you assistant head coach, DC? Of course they will.
And
They can't stop him if he does that.
But it kind of sounds like he just found that out.
Right?
Like, he kind of sounded like he found out, like, he just saw on Twitter, Todd Monken.
It sounds like he found out like we found out.
Yeah, I'm guessing he probably just saw the notification from Shefty.
Like, and so he like, what? Like you can, like, I've been in 35 interviews. You could have told me straight up, like, this
Maybe
what we're
they
gonna
did,
do.
but if they did, it was probably 5 minutes before it got out
Nah, you got to tell that man a whole 2-3 days before you even come to that.
I mean,
or even if it's on the table. Like, you're supposed to give him a head up. Like, listen, we looking at Todd. Right now,
Have some transparency
It's
here.
a neck and neck thing. We just want to let you know where we are in the process, and to give you a heads up before you, so you're not blindsided by it. It sounded like he rolled over, and was telling people to get his office ready, and they said, "Oh, homeboy, hey, yeah, not so fast. We got Todd Monken on the line." Like, that's crazy. That's wild work, bro. I always tell people this: help yourself out. Help yourself out. And sometimes the self-inflicted things don't help yourself out, man, because now you could have put out a bunch of fires. The fire, you wouldn't even have had a fire on one side of the building. Firefighters will tell you, we need to compose, and we need to quarantine this fire in one part of the house and don't let it spread. Well, while you try to fix this fire offensively, now you got a whole empty room over there with a void. Because think about it. Jim Schwartz would have probably kept his whole entire staff. Now you're dealing with all new position coaches.
Everywhere.
And nobody like new position coaches.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, bro, I ain't got no time to be getting acclimated to you, bro.
Right.
Dude,
like,
you were very glass. I thought I know you didn't love the Monken hire, but I thought you were very, unlike me, I thought you were very glass half full about it. You had a positive attitude about it. I feel like this just stabbed you in the heart, this news.
I think what it did is it puts you in a point where the Browns have to realize that they're gonna have to get out these boxes, and they're gonna have to be good now. Not now, but right now. Like, because the fans aren't gonna they're not gonna give you no grace. There ain't gonna be no grace, because now you got to figure out, like, at least think about how we always talked about it with the Browns.
Yeah.
At least we always knew that the Browns had one side of the football that was solidified. And so we can hammer them on offense and tell them that we need to do something offensively. But the way the NFL works, there is no guarantees that from year to year with the same coordinator or good team that you still keep that level of standard going, let alone with a brand new group of guys that you got to gel quickly. And my thing is, too, who's going to be your charismatic leader?
Well, we know Miles is not an outgoing guy.
Right.
Like, that's not his personality. So it's not going to be him. And if you guys thought that Myles Garrett was disgruntled last year, when he by the way, he had a zillion sacks.
Yeah.
He's having the best year of his career. Well, the guy that helped him get those sacks is gone. You're going to go through a complete rebuild, retool, new coordinator, new position coach. All of these things are going to be new for Myles Garrett, who said, I don't want to be part of a rebuild.
Right.
What over under? October what? Halloween? How about Halloween?
It wants to be
Halloween? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe end of September. I don't know. Miles will be like, I want out of Cleveland.
Okay, do we see a scenario now where, like, to me, the smart thing for the Browns to do is play Shedeur Sanders this year. If he does great, fantastic. Problem solved. If he's mediocre and you're not sure, or he stinks, you have a high draft pick, you draft Arch Manning, you move it forward. But the Browns may be so desperate to win that maybe they don't do the smart thing. And maybe they end up bringing Mac Jones or Jameis Winston or somebody like that. Because there's no denying. Like, Jameis Winston will give the Browns a better chance to win games next year than Shedeur Sanders, right?
For sure.
Anybody disagree with that, G? I know you're a big Sanders guy. I know you're a big Winston guy.
I like Jameis Winston, but if I'm already here, I got to see what the young boy going to do.
I agree with you, but would you say that Jameis gives him a better chance to win games?
I mean, how many? I don't know. How many games did Jameis win? I don't necessarily think that.
Okay. Well, I think Jameis would give him a better chance to win.
Jameis is currently a better professional quarterback than Shedeur Sanders.
It's not that close. It's not close.
It's not to
Jameis
say
Winston,
well, first off, I would hope that if you folks out there who think Shedeur is going to be this great player one day, well, then in a year or two, he'll be way better than Jameis. But currently, he doesn't have the experience. It's not denigrating Shedeur Sanders.
Jameis Winston might be
7 games. Like Jameis Winston, my thing is, that's the worst thing you could do.
But I'm not. I agree with you. I wouldn't go after Jameis Winston because he just puts you in that mediocrity category. Agreed. But you have to admit that they're more likely to win more games with Jameis next year than they would be with Shedeur. I think most people would agree with that, even if you don't want to say it. But most people would agree with that. The Browns certainly would think that. And I'm worried that they're going to do something like that to try to win as many games as possible.
That'd be crazy.
Jameis Winston is still a top 25 quarterback. Like, there's not 25 quarterbacks better than him in the league. But he's not good enough that anybody wants him really to start.
Yeah, you're not building around him.
If you had to start the 32 best quarterbacks in the league, Jameis would be starting for somebody.
Yeah, for somebody.
Yeah.
I think
and Shedeur wouldn't. Not right now.
I think the hesitancy is we've already seen that game plan before. I've seen.
Well, but it's going to be a different coach and hopefully better talent. I don't know.
I've seen Jameis Winston come throw for a bunch of yards. I've seen him throw a lot of interceptions in some games too.
Yeah.
I think at this point, the Browns have to, because here's the thing. If you want to go around and you want to have a pick or whatever the case may be, and you want an opportunity to get a number 1 pick or whatever the case may be, don't waste that by just moving around and getting these retreads and throwing them in there. I want no parts of that.
I agree with you. We're 100% on the same page. I think Shedeur Sanders should be the starter next year as of the information I have right now. I would rather Shedeur Sanders be the starter than Jameis, be the starter than Mac Jones, be the starter than any other, mid-tier to lower-tier veteran you're going to name. It doesn't seem like there's anybody in the draft that's a sure thing. For them, I'm 100% on board. But you have to admit, I don't know if it's necessarily Jameis, whoever, whether it's Mac Jones or whatever, there's got to be a part of the Browns that if they think they got to win as many games as possible and we got to get the best quarterback we can, Shedeur Sanders is not the best quarterback most likely for next year that they could possibly get. And so they might do something crazy like that, and I hope they don't.
If they move, I look at it from this standpoint. They done already moved heaven and hell to get to the point where they is today. So if you're looking at the quarterback room in general, with them doing that, that would be the exact same thing that they did last year. So Kenny Pickett would be this year's Mac Jones. But Kenny Pickett would the Mac Jones is worth, he costs a lot more money. Malik Willis costs a lot more money.
Well, Mac Jones is not a free agent, so he wouldn't cost much money. But
you had to trade for him.
But you traded a 5th round pick. You wouldn't. How much would you have to trade to get him?
So for me, you go in, you play Shedeur Sanders, and you see what he can do in 2026. He'll tell you. His play will tell you if you need another quarterback.
Right. Dustin, do you think there's a scenario that the Browns could do the crazy thing and go get a veteran to start who's
it's not crazy at all. I mean, Todd.
You don't think that's a crazy thing to do,
no.
or you?
Oh, I don't think it's crazy to think that, and I don't think it's a crazy thing to do.
But that will more likely take you out of the running for a top quarterback the following year in the draft.
Todd Monken wants to win games.
Yeah. Well, that could be to the detriment of the franchise long term.
This whole thing's a detriment to the franchise. Yeah. What are you talking about?
I mean, I just the idea of bringing in some veteran. I mean, we've seen Sam Darnold bounce back.
This Jim Schwartz thing that's going on right now is a disaster.
Dustin, I want to ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
I just saw another tweet, and we're going to keep, like I said, popping these up as we go along. But Ari Miroff tweeted, Jim Schwartz has, in fact, told members of the Browns essentially to go screw themselves after being passed over for the head coaching job. The Schwartz element was the biggest hurdle Cleveland faced in its long and complicated search. Now it's blowing back in their face. So, Dustin, I want to let you start on this one. That was clearly an integral part of their search was they wanted to keep Jim Schwartz. Is it officially fair to say that plan has backfired?
The whole thing's backfired. I mean, I don't think when they fired Stefanski 23 or 24 days ago, they felt like this was going to be the case. You got guys that aren't even offensive coordinators telling you no. And by the way, I don't buy the fact, because we got the team source, that Shieldhouse was denied by the Browns. Bull crap.
That's bull.
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah.
For a second. They settled on a guy that doesn't even have a defensive coordinator. They banked on the fact that he would take Jim Schwartz, and also the fact that Jim Schwartz would take the DC with this guy. And he just said, F you.
It seemed like they did.
I mean,
did they even talk about this?
Bro, I laugh because we've, for how many years, talked about how dysfunctional and how much of a soap opera that goes on in that building. And it's one thing after another, guys. It's never ending. It is like the gift that keeps on giving. Zach Jackson is the luckiest guy in the world.
Did they?
He'll work for the Athletic for 25 years.
It's like they didn't even. They put it on Twitter, and it's like they didn't even tell him what they were thinking.
Bro, I would not even be surprised. Like, I'm not exaggerating that he found out via social media.
Because now
I bet.
And now they're like, he's like literally. So he might have actually said that. He might have actually said, "Go screw yourself." Like,
I don't think he said screw. I think he said, you know what?
It's probably a little meaner than go screw yourself.
Like. Because it was obvious that from what he was being told and from what he was being, delineated to, that this man felt like, oh, I'm about to get this joint. Not only did you not get the joint, they gave it to somebody else, and I don't think they told him.
So it's even crazier, G.
Yeah.
Diana Rossini,
oh boy,
well respected across the league, just keeps adding to it. According to Diana Rossini, many around the league believe that Jim Schwartz was not going to stay in Cleveland if they hired a first-time head coach, which could be the issue with Udinsky and Shieldhouse. Udinsky. It doesn't matter. He's not here. Which you alluded to. How could Jim Schwartz accept being the number 2 to a 30 or 35-year-old?
Right.
Diana says an older one with experience may not satisfy him either. To your point to start the show, Bull.
Yeah.
You said, and a lot of people in the chat called you crazy for it, that this is the worst case scenario for Jim Schwartz because not only to get passed up for a young offensive whiz guy, it's an older guy with experience.
If I were Schwartz, I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't get the job, period. But for me, again, I'm not him. I'm more pissed about Monken than a young guy because at least with the young guy, I could say, hey, listen, I get it. I'm 60 years old. They want to have a young coach. But what they did instead was hire a guy the same age as him with less credentials than him.
And hasn't been in the building, hasn't been a head coach. It's such a slap in the face to Jim.
It's a total. But what's crazy is now Jimmy must be thinking like, well, he's not going anywhere. Do you think Jimmy doesn't realize that if somebody offers him the assistant head coach job that he can leave without getting permission?
He has to at this point, even if nobody does offer him, I don't see how that relationship is going to work. Say for instance, nobody.
What are you going to force him to stay?
No, I think he would resign.
Yeah, you're right. He probably made enough money. He's been around the league long enough.
If nobody comes and offers him a job that he can legally just get up out of his situation. I think if he's still under contract, I literally think he would resign.
They botched this so bad, guys, because their whole process was affected by Jim Schwartz having to stay as DC, and yet they clearly never talked to him about staying as the DC they hired somebody else. They clearly didn't.
They were reading his mind? They thought they knew what
Jimmy
he thought?
Just thought, well, he's going to stay. He's our DC.
Are they shocked that he's upset? That's even crazier if they're shocked that he's upset because that means
obviously
they
are.
Just didn't you told all of us that, but you didn't text him like, yo, what do you think about this, dog? You think you want to stick around? Like, man, oh my goodness. Here, hey Browns, y'all might want to look. y'all might want to find y'all some ball players.
Yeah.
Andrew, you might want to find trade it all. You might want to get every bona fide free agent, whatever you need to do, because let me tell you what. I told people about the way things work. Kevin Stefanski was on the hot seat. I told you coming into this year, Andrew Barry's on. They looking at you. They're looking at you now, like, because that's what it is. And so now you're the last person standing. Hey, if Jimmy told you this is how you gonna go, you better get on Project Stockpile and you better get it going. Because the Browns now they can't afford to come out the gate slow at all. Because the whole perception is, yeah, y'all fumbled the bag on the coaching, y'all fumbled the bag on these moves. The coordinator, Monken his offense better be cold. Shedeur Sanders better look like the next coming of Randall Cunningham ASAP. Like they put themselves in a position where now they have to cook. Ain't no ifs, ands. You gotta cook now.
You might have. It's possible the Browns have to hire an entire coaching staff, like top to bottom.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know that there's keeping any assistants.
No, they do.
And maybe Monken might have some guys from Baltimore that he could take with him, but those guys might have gone with Harbaugh. I don't know.
Harbaugh took their special teams coordinator to New York and was going to take Monken if he didn't
Right.
get this job.
Yeah.
Earl actually sent me a text earlier in the show saying, hey, if we need someone to talk about, mention the fact that they need a new special teams coordinator in Cleveland if Bubba Ventrone leaves. Take the guy from Baltimore. Then 2 minutes later said, oh, wait, Harbaugh already poached him. So,
well, we didn't have to find things to talk about. By the way, we were going to talk about Mobley's injury for a little bit. We were going to talk about LeBron maybe coming back for a little bit. That's all going to tomorrow.
Squished out of a show.
Holy moly.
They got now.
This is crazy.
We came into this joint thinking that we was really going to start talking about doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was wild because now we got to get a whole new coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like this, like I wasn't doing no deep dives into nothing defensively. Like none of that.
And as you say, not only do you have to find a DC, but you have to find a DC that's going to run at least a similar style to, because you have all this talent. It's not like on offense where you can start from scratch.
Yeah.
On defense, you've got all this talent. You don't want to, like, you can't rebuild the defense, change the defense.
Dustin, shout out to you.
What'd I do?
You said something yesterday. I wholeheartedly agree with you now. Anything in the draft is not off table.
They might draft another defensive player.
They may draft anything going in the draft is not off the table. Like you talk about a defensive end or a say. Listen, I'm here to tell you, I could not tell you where they would go because the moves that they make, you can't cookie cut this. I don't know what they may draft, because think about it. If they want to change the whole defense, they may say, well, we're moving to this defense and we need this guy. Think about that.
Man. Imagine when you woke up this morning.
It's so different.
That if I would have told you that Todd Monken was going to be named the head coach, that was only the second worst news involving the Browns today.
That would be.
I mean, think about that for a minute. It's like you just mentioned it. We've been covering this team. You and I have been either on the radio or on podcast or here
15
since
years.
2011. 15 years, as you say. It's one bit of nonsense after the next, especially since Jimmy's taken over. And we were excited. Remember, we were excited. We met Jimmy when he first took over. We thought, hey, the last owner stunk. Can't be worse.
Yeah.
It's worse.
Yeah, I wish Randy Lerner was still around.
Oh, my God. I mean, there's just one. This is the latest. Only the Browns moment.
Yeah.
My phone been over here rocking and rolling like it's the Flintstones, bro.
Oh,
my text is going crazy. My phone is buzzing and lighting up. It gave me an Amber Alert, a weather newscast forecast. I'm like, bro, I can't even check my phone. It's just going ding, 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 ding. Bro, this is crazy.
By the way, programming notes here. If you haven't had enough Browns coverage already, and there's still so much to talk about, we're not doing overtime, but we'll probably go past one straight show. I will be doing an episode of The Bullpen at 2 p.m. live. G. Bush will be doing an episode of The Ultimate Brown Show, a time to be determined, this afternoon.
We got about 75 joints we gonna see.
and then Dustin and I will be in the bullpen tomorrow morning as well. We've got you covered. Obviously, tons of coverage on UCSS.
And as more news breaks,
this.
we'll hop in and we'll do more
Yeah.
stuff. Like if we're at 4 o'clock and they hire an offensive coordinator, it's not going to happen that quick. But just something like that, we'll obviously hop on and get you
now
some
we start
immediate reaction.
You know, it's funny because I wasn't really thinking about. Not only were we not thinking about DC because it seemed like Schwartz was going to be the DC. I wasn't thinking that much about the OC either because I figured, well, if they hire a young guy, then he'll probably call his own plays. And now,
this is all.
And now we go into full. Now you got 3 coordinators, and again, I'm.
This is full coordinator watch. This is full draft watch. Free agency. All of that stuff mattered because I'm here to tell you, when you ask me the question, the Browns feel like they have to. Oh no. Oh, they better feel like they can get wins now.
And that's why they might trade for a veteran, G. Bush, and you don't like that.
But look, man.
Jameis back. Bring Jameis back.
Yeah, make
Jameis great again.
They're going to have to stockpile this thing fully to the cupboards, bro, because you can't do 4 or 5 wins.
When are the Browns going to stop being half pregnant? I mean,
never.
They've got a plan, then they got another. So what is the deal? What are they trying to do?
I don't. Maybe they should call Mike Pett and get him out of retirement and be the DC.
Man, Mike,
we'd have a great in.
Yeah,
Mike said he's straight. He's trying to
All
go.
right, guys, we got a ton of super chats.
All right,
so we're
let's
gonna
get
read
to
as
it.
many as we can. We're gonna go a little past 1. We're gonna do this as part of overtime.
Okay.
But we have as many super chats as we've had in a long
go.
time. Hold My Johnson says, El Hire, what a joke. Dragon the Abandoner says, y'all ran off Stefanski for this. QJ Smith says, I'm assuming Monken is high on Shador because the Ravens were high on Shador. Hopefully Monken gives him a fair shot to be the starter. DeRosa says, get ready for Deshaun. Book it now. Scooby Flo says, top 5 quarterback with the team we have right now, would we be playoff contenders? So if the Browns had a top 5 quarterback, do you think they'd be a playoff contender?
Yes.
You guys think that any part of that plan that Monken laid out to Barry and Haslam involved Deshaun Watson?
Thinking about that. I would say no, probably, but it's possible.
Hey, it's
I give it like a
definitely
5% chance.
Definitely possible.
And man, anything possible. He might have been talking about Dylan Gabriel. I don't know, man.
No chance.
He might have been talking about
Jim Schwartz found out he didn't get the job via social media like the rest of us. Anything's possible.
anything
Anything's
possible.
possible.
And
You're right, Mike.
I don't know that for sure.
You're right.
But
They think Dylan Gabriel's the greatest quarterback.
I was already supposed to quit when they drafted Mason Graham.
Dylan Gabriel to the Falcons for a 7th round pick. That's happening. Go ahead.
Big Larry says Browns are winning the division next year. Book it.
Yeah, no.
Joey B says we cut a 2-time coach of the year for this, but Kevin had to go, right? Blacktop Bully says, Bull, you're such a negative dude. Miserable for no reason.
That was probably pre the Schwartz news. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just typically pretty miserable anyway.
I'm not miserable.
Mr.
Not when it comes to the Guardians.
So this had to be. I'm curious to see the progression of as these go because these two came back to back.
Yeah.
Mr. Pitney said Bull would complain about whoever they hired.
False.
The Real Night King says, I don't know how to feel about this. It's a wait and see for me.
In other words, he doesn't like it but doesn't want to say it.
LJ Cash said Lamar had his best season under Todd Monken. What is Bull talking about? And the only thing 12 and Lamar have in common is their skin color.
I didn't say they had things in common. Why do people not understand? I said they're both non-traditional quarterbacks. That doesn't mean they have something in common. I mean, it does. They're both non-traditional. But they're in different ways. How do you not understand that? That person's not very smart. Let's go.
Set Apart Laz says, Tyvus made some good points on Todd Monken yesterday. Go back and listen if you missed it. Through the Fire podcast says, I'm a Packers fan, and I feel so bad for the Browns fans over this hire. This pick just feels like they're giving up. JB Hoop says, point for Bull. He called it. The question was asked a few weeks ago, who was the least favorite candidate? And Bull said Todd Monken. Bull also said on a show the day before the Browns should do the opposite of what they've been doing and hire him. So point retroactively for Bull, according to JB Hoops. Big Larry said Snoop Huntley looked great in a Todd Monken offense. What do you think Shador could do?
Todd Huntley never looked great. That's stupid.
Todd Huntley.
You just combined Todd Huntley and Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley never looked great.
Man.
Blacktop Bully says, what were the Ravens' injuries this season, just like the Browns had? Adam's ridiculous takes. Why doesn't he consider facts?
What facts didn't I consider and what? I don't know what he's talking about.
Not sure.
Okay.
Is it possible to bring in Monken with Shieldhouse as the OC?
Nope.
That is not going to
Yeah, like he's coming here to be an OC. What are you going to get mine?
That's out of here.
Derek Waldmiller says Monken runs Air Coryell, which is the system Deshaun thrived in Houston. Best believe the plan is to run back Deshaun. Not saying I agree with the decision, but that's what's going to happen. Go Bull.
Vote for Deshaun.
Sean Watson back in the mix.
Back in the mix.
K Stowe 22 says, I honestly did not think this team would make a hire that absolutely nobody wanted. I thought it'd be a young coach or Jim Schwartz, but this screams ineptitude. I don't understand this team.
You're being negative. Don't be negative.
Man.
Don't be honest. You can only be honest if it's positive.
Okay, now here comes the turns.
There you go.
Blacktop Bully said, Jim will be the assistant head coach. Just watch and see. Thank God for G. Bush with the only rational take.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that didn't happen, G. Bush. You didn't have a rational take there. No offense.
And rationally didn't come true.
No.
KTB takes. Instead of hiring a head coach, they keep thinking they're smarter than everyone else and hired 2 play callers. The culture in losing will never change.
What else? What a turn. I know they got a turn.
JU3Q3 says, Bull, the Ravens reported, and Dion said the Ravens wanted Shador. That's a fact. Tanya Ignatius says 2. She sent 2 super chats.
Okay.
Andrew's playing chess, draft class, exhibit A, and Bull wants 12 and buried to fail so bad, it's disgusting.
False. Go ahead.
Bill Rodewalt says maybe they liked who Monken could bring with him, and they think they can keep Jim Schwartz.
Well, that
ship has sailed.
That ship sailed. Out of here.
Sancho Black says if you propose to your girl and she says no, are you going to stay? Jim Schwartz, gone.
I done did that a few times. Go ahead.
G. Bush would know.
I would know that. Gene Stan, dog.
Blacktop Bully says what Bull is saying is if UCSS made G the moderator, he's going to quit. Stop being so negative, bro.
I was right. That's not the same thing.
As long as you're going to give me my check.
I'm not the boss.
Yeah.
I'm not G. Bush's boss. So it's not the same thing.
And we're only halfway through. I have a feeling that we're going to see the Schwartz change and come
That's the point. I'm waiting for the change, right? Like,
it wasn't even a good example, though.
We get that change.
Yeah.
Patrick says, my opinion, I thought I heard pre-draft Shador didn't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson, so did Monken have a plan for Shador that gave him the edge? Just curious what you guys think.
Man, that's a lot of steps you're taking to Todd Monken like Shador. But Zach Jackson did say he thought it was better for Shador. So I'm on board with that. I think, by the way, in this sea of people telling me how much I hate Shador, I think I've consistently said again today that I would make Shador the starting quarterback next year. But let's not let facts get in the way.
If they need somebody, I'm gonna just keep it real with you. They need somebody. They need good PR at the beginning of the season anyway. Like they gonna need. I'm telling you, they gonna need to be cooking immediately.
I can't wait to listen to NFL radio later and see what they're saying. Go ahead.
BP KC3 said, if the old guard Browns fans and media hate the decision, then it's probably a good hire. Let's see. The Browns are horrible, and the new head coach is from a playoff team, yet Browns media and fans hate it. What is this, a bizarro world?
I mean, we've hated most of the Browns coaches' hires, and we've been right about most of them.
Sly says this feels like Hugh Jackson over Sean McDermott all over again.
Yep.
Infinite
Except Sean
Darkness,
McDermott would have probably taken the job at the time. Shieldhouse didn't want it, probably.
Infinite Darkness says, terrible decision. I'm going to take a couple years off till he's gone. Peace out, y'all. This team is a joke.
Stay with it.
This team is a joke.
You'll be all right, dog.
Stick with it. You'll be back.
Hey, look, listen. What they say? Who said this, man? In Paid in Full. Hey, man, people get shot every day. It's all good, man. You be all right. Dust that off.
Todd Monken means Deshaun Watson is your starting quarterback next year. That's from EasyQL001.
Easy Q.
Man, can you imagine these conversations we're going to have in the offseason? This about to be crazy.
So much juicy stuff.
This is going to be I'm telling you, this the number one team people going to follow forever and ever and ever, at least for 2026.
Unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Next.
Forever and ever and ever and ever.
At least
for
2026.
Yeah, I like that. G.
You like that?
Tanya Signetius, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says the good old boys miss Kevin. Andrew Loki's cooking. Maybe she's a fan of Todd Monken. Matt Kotara says in 2019 under Monken we had a 1,400-yard rusher, 2,000-yard receivers, and Baker threw for over 4K. 3 eye emojis.
That is true. And I've used that stat to slander Kevin Stefanski. But they did have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. and prime Nick Chubb and a top 5 offensive line. And put it in perspective. So
they don't have anywhere close to that.
Yeah, we ain't got that right now. We ain't got that right now. It's a little different.
The power of I am. Monken evaluated Shador as OC. Dion confirmed Baltimore wanted to draft him. Just maybe Berea's building around Shador. They found a new head coach who believes in 12.
That may be a thing. Maybe he went in there and said, I love Shador Sanders. He's the greatest. I feel like he's the best quarterback in this draft. I like him. I want to work with him.
By the way, just because Dion said that, forget it. Go ahead. Doesn't matter. It's pointless.
Nick Coupon says, seems like they are planning on sticking with Sanders, and they think they can win now with Monken. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't. I mean, of course, I don't think they can win right now, but I don't know. I hope they're sticking with Sanders, but I'm worried they're going to trade for a veteran.
I think they'll stay with him, but I do think that Jimmy Haslam has already said that they should have got more wins. I'll take him at his word for it. So, Andrew Bear already done said it. He got to get me 7 or 8 because you can't get 3 or 4. Like, it's squarely on his shoulders at this point. Yep. Especially and the crazy part about it is now the defense can't regress. So you see how this be working? At least if your offense was what it was, like, you know what I'm saying? You can say we got some young guys, we working on getting it together, but the defense is solid and they top. If the defense regresses, that's on you too.
Which it could, even with Schwartz, it could have.
It could have,
a little bit.
But it's a glaring.
But now it'll be a bigger deal.
Now we watching it.
Right.
You got communication issues.
And
Jim Schwartz was here. This would have been.
Even if the offense is a little better, because it couldn't be much worse. Even if it's a little better, but not that good, and the defense goes down to like good, decent, you're going to be like, what did you do?
Yeah,
you destroyed our strength.
Yeah, that's another talking point. So that's why I keep saying it. Man, they put themselves in a position where they got to cook.
I guess you have to hope that they could smooth things over with Schwartz. I know it seems impossible, but maybe they can do it, I guess.
Hey,
I don't know.
I guess if they do, then we give them some credit.
Yeah, I'll give them
for
credit
smoothing that over if there's still a chance, but it doesn't seem like there is. If he told everyone to F off.
I mean, these dudes, there's multiple people with cursory words just saying what he's saying. They ain't just getting that from hearsay.
No.
All right, Nate Goodwin says Shador fans complained the entire season, and now they're mad at Bull for complaining about a terrible hire. Digman Fraud says they kept Hugh after 1-31. Things would have been just as dysfunctional as it was with Kitches for him to be gone in a year. Bill Roldewalt says maybe Monken and Schwartz have the maturity and experience to tame Jimmy. Brody's bottom line, Todd's offense is better than Kevin's. Kevin's offense have never been top 5.
I mean, it may be so, but it's a disingenuous argument. One guy had Lamar Jackson, one of the greatest players in the league. The other guy had a decent offense with Baker Mayfield and has had terrible quarterbacks since. So it's not an apples-to-apples comparison.
I mean, Todd is he's a good play caller. But let's see how good Todd is at assembling the staff.
Yeah, right.
I said if we was going to get the rest of these guys, the most important thing is who's your coordinators.
Yeah, I mean, guys, let's be honest. They need more than just a great play caller. Like they need a leader of men.
Yeah,
a leader of men, an entire coaching staff, and to fill almost every spot on the offense.
Yeah. XS1 Dragon says the Monsters won the AHL championship in 2016. That's the whole point of this throwback weekend. Also, McNuggets, his name is pronounced Werenski. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stephen James
Whose
Royer
name is-
says
what was that? Rensky? What's that?
Wierenski
hockey
for
player?
for the Monsters.
Oh,
league.
yeah,
For
yeah. I remember the
league.
Monsters winning in 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
They were the Lake Erie Monsters then. Go
Stephen
ahead.
James Royer says, I love the show, guys, but the chat and comments are the most toxic I've ever seen. I don't know how you'll do it. Some of these people are just filled with hatred. It's sad.
It's
the
true,
Juice
but it's
says,
just part of social media. That's just the way it is.
I don't even
the
say
Juice says, Bridge Coach won't make it to Brook Park. Jay Earl says, does it hold any stock that John Harbaugh loves Todd Monken?
Sure.
I think a lot of people, I think what hit a lot of people was the double whammy. It was because you were sold on the fact that they had something in the back pocket with Schwartz, so that they can kind of accelerate the game plan. So Monken, okay, all right, it wasn't my choice. I said people, I was like, that's the least favorite candidate they have, right? So I looked at it like, okay, well, I could kind of squint and see, and I'll give him an opportunity. But then you come halfway through the show, and then if you find out Jim Schwartz is gone, now your whole mindset is different because now you know that there's some heavy lifting that has to be done in a very short period of time, and you cannot run around that. You can't. Like, it is heavy lifting, bro.
Yeah. It's funny because obviously I was ranting and raving earlier in the show how much I didn't like this move. But we had all said we would give it a chance, and I was stuck. After an hour and change, I was like, okay, now it's time to, just let it go. But then this just brought up the anger again, even more so.
I feel like we started the show, in a way, relatively calm. Especially G, very rational, trying to see the glass half full.
Yeah,
And then the
that's
Schwartz
gone out
thing,
the window.
Yeah, and tomorrow, I promise, we'll dive into some of the positives of Todd Monken. It's hard to when the news comes out at 10:55. That's not the guy you want. Rationally come up with the positives because it's not the guy you want.
When you've lost, as a Browns organization, when you've lost Xavier P., my guy.
He's been blowing up my phone all day.
He is pissed, I know. He hated this hire. And he's always arguing when I rip Jimmy and I rip Barry and he doesn't like Stefanski, obviously. But we get argue about it. If you lose him, he is the ultimate Browns apologist and crazy diehard
Xavier
fan.
P. He's my guy.
Yeah.
I got 7 texts from during the show. The first one is ... officially done with the Browns. So there you go.
I mean, if you're losing Xavier P., that's bad.
It's hard to get back. All right, I'm
That's
going to
bad.
run through. We got a bunch more, so I'm going to run through a couple of these a little quicker. If you need me to stop and you want to interject to any,
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
tell me to stop.
Yeah.
Rahul Ganesh says Browns are sleepwalking to the dome. Worst part of this is second worst news after Belichick's snub. What a joke the Hall of Fame has become. Sly says to bring some baseball bull if Connor Griffin turns into a stud player he looks like and Nick Kurtz continues to ball, how much of a miss is taking Bazana?
I mean, if Bazana doesn't pan out, Connor Griffin hasn't played in the big leagues yet, but Kurtz was Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's fantastic. But let's give Bazana a chance. Go ahead.
Bill Beck says a little Browns history. Bull Blanton Collier was 58 and a first-time head coach when the Browns won the championship in 1964. It's not that drastic.
Yeah, let's use an example from 60 years ago. That makes a lot of sense.
It's relevant.
Yeah.
Evan419 says, no complaining allowed. You all begged for Jimmy Haslam coaching search a few weeks ago. Don't ask for a crappy chef to make you food, then say it tastes bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sly says maybe this is a
Although,
Kitchens.
hold on. To be fair, Jason and Dustin did not want Kevin Stefanski fired.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The rest of us did. So they can complain about it more than we can.
Fair.
You know.
Sly says maybe this is a Kitchens Stefanski situation. Jimmy hired the wrong guy, then next year get the other guy, and Nate coaches after a year as the Rams OC. Alex Rosh
People
says
can con themselves into anything, man.
Alex Rosh says Bull is being presumptuous on Schwartz leaving because he's trying to manifest him to taking his talents to Cincinnati.
I can't believe people would really think that. Yes, would I love to have Jim Schwartz in Cincinnati? Of course I would. I'm not an idiot. Let me give you I was just thinking about this the other day. My top 5 teams I'd like to see win a championship. And the Browns are in my top 5. Do you believe me? Or do you think I'm making it up?
Bengals, Browns, Bills.
No. Top 5 in all of sports.
Oh, all of sports.
Yes.
Oh.
Number 1, the Bengals, because I haven't seen them win a championship.
Okay.
and they're my team. Number 2,
Guardians.
the Cubs.
Oh, Cubs. Well, the Cubs already won a
I know, but they my team growing up. I'm not going to be a phony. I'm keeping it real. Okay. Number 3, the Guardians. They're the team I didn't grow up rooting for that I want to win more than any other. Number 4, St. John's, who I grew up rooting for, but I'd rather the Guardians win than St. John's. And number 5 is the Browns. That's my top 5. So if you have a beef with that, fine. That's the truth. You think I'm lying, you're wrong. And there you go.
BPKC3D says, Bull is so petty and often wrong, it's hard to watch at times. But if Jim Schwartz is that much of a petulant child to run out of the building when big team decisions need to be made, then good riddance to him.
All right, I am petty sometimes. I'll agree with that. I'm right way more than I'm wrong. But like anybody else, I'm wrong sometimes. And you're just saying that. He's not being a petulant child. If most of us were in Jim Schwartz's situation, we'd be pissed.
Yeah. And we'll never really know
being a petulant child.
What was truly said.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it sounds like they screwed him over.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Sounds like he thought he was getting the job.
I think
Facts.
Send a clown emoji to that guy.
Okay. Like I feel like he was in the dark about a lot of that stuff, and the initial emotions of it is like, you know, like if you feel like you done put a bunch of work in, you done see my work up close and personal.
Yeah,
I done done a great job. But the defense is what it is. I got respect from the players. You gonna feel a certain type way, especially when you saying like, you've seen what I've done up close and personal, but you didn't believe in that.
Right.
So if you don't believe in that, that's cool. I just got to go. I want to be somewhere where people believe in me.
Yeah.
So
you want to be somewhere where people, not just they believe in you, but they respect what you do.
And
what they respect the value you bring to the organization.
Right.
You promoted another team's coordinator over your own, who is arguably the best hire you've had in the entire time that Jimmy Haslam's been here. You could very clearly argue that Jim Schwartz has been the best coaching hire this team has had in the decade plus he's been here. And then instead you promoted another coordinator who has no head coaching experience in the NFL and did that. So he's not a petulant child. He's pissed and he has every right to be. Right.
Jay Earl says, it's not a big deal we're losing Schwartz. Talent wins out on D. Be optimistic. We'll find someone great. Smooth STP said, if Todd's taking the job, that means he sees something in the offense in the quarterback room and likes the plan for the offseason. He chose us over going to another team. That's the kind of guy I want.
Well, what do you mean he chose us? Nobody else offered him a head coaching job. He took the job because he wants to be a head coach and he had no other options. So, of course, he took it.
Emo says, chill out, guys. Lamar got 2 first-team All-Pros in Monken's offense and should have gotten 2 MVPs. They're trying to develop the offense. I'm happy for Shador. Monk is a real one. I'm a Ravens fan. Trust me.
Okay.
Joey BOD says, gee, at least we didn't live in our fears. Sly says, Jimmy told AB coach needed to keep Schwartz. All the people he wanted didn't want him, and the one guy that did was Monken, and he still left.
By the way, as part of how come in all this time you spent talking to Jim Schwartz, you never said to him, hey, coach, listen, we don't know how this process is going to turn out. If we decide to hire someone else as the head coach for whatever reason, we are desperate to keep you as defensive coordinator.
What would it take?
No matter what.
What
would it? Will you? And they obviously never had that conversation.
That's a very good way of couching that, and I think you're dead on in the way that you have to communicate that situation, because if you did that, he could have then gave him the opportunity as a man to say, and respectfully, okay, cool, I'm not sure I'm cool with that. I can move on and do some other things and be prepared. Yeah. So you could give him that level of respect in open communication, because then, and then even if he could sit back after a couple of weeks and even think about it, like, you know what, I was gonna roll out, but since you guys came at me, I wouldn't have a problem.
Maybe he
depending on what it was. But you gotta be upfront about it. Like, don't catch nobody off guard, because what happens is you never gonna be able to salvage a relationship, because you're like, bro, you know me. Like, you could have just called me and had a conversation.
They're not the best communicators
at all. Like, no, like and here's the thing, I gotta keep it a buck. That's what I got on Kevin Stefanski for, is not communicating. This is another chance, another situation where they're not communicating. This was not a communication thing that should have been swept under the rug. If you felt a certain way, Go into it, be clear and concise about how you feel, and then that way give him the opportunity to make his move, whether he wants to stay or whether he want to go or think about it in the future. But don't have him doing 2-3 interviews and thinking he gonna have a job, and then he can hear it on Twitter, because that's what it sounds like. I don't know the ins and outs, but that's kind of what it sounds like, that he was making business moves, getting furniture moved in, trying to figure out staffs, and all of a sudden it's boom,
He out.
yeah.
When you like doing these comparisons, so I'll do one. When Dustin left I left Bull and Fox, and then you left the afternoon show with Nick, and I knew Jonathan was one of the candidates, obviously, to replace you. And I said to Jonathan, I know you don't want to hear this, but if you don't get that job, you should quit. Because that means they're hopping somebody else from outside the building over you.
Essentially means that you'll never have a chance.
Right, you're never gonna if they don't give it to you now, you're not gonna get it.
Right.
And so, I don't know for sure what he would have done had he not gotten the job, but he did. But to me, it's the same thing. They took somebody from another organization who was at the same level as you. It's not like he was a head coach somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
He was the same level as you, coordinator. And they hopped him over you, even though you did. Now, Todd Monken did do a good job as offensive coordinator, no doubt about it. But Jim Schwartz did a great job as defensive coordinator.
And technically, Jim Schwartz has more experience.
Yeah, because he's been a head coach. That wasn't good, but he was a head coach.
He's more decorated.
100%.
He's more decorated.
Yes, yes.
So if you and then too, you got to think about it. The guys he got on his offense, he's listen, just go back and look at it. For what it's worth, look at the accolades that my defense is racking up.
Yeah.
We just broke the sack record.
Right.
I got defensive rookie of the year. I got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got, what you guys talking about?
He got the most out of Myles Garrett. He helped. That's unfair to say he got it.
Yes.
He helped get turn Myles Garrett into maybe the greatest player we've ever seen certainly on defense. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, couple more. Soup Loop says, things are bad when Bull's 100% right. Take your victory lap. Gary Gonchniar says, are we sure Haslam isn't French for Modell? Don Peasy Wheezy says, diehard Washington fan here. I hate to tell you, but this looks like a mirror image of my Redskins Commanders under Dan Snyder. Time to catch Jimmy in some controversy and force him to sell. Lee B says, just like the Browns need to find a new staff, I think I might need to find a new team.
You can't.
Nate Godwin says, Stefanski is currently in Atlanta smoking a cigar, laughing at the clown show. Emo says, Browns fans are delusional, don't know when they have something good. Monken develop players, you will see. He builds in the draft now. Lefty says, clearly not to bury higher. Schwartz equals Baker. Coach Josh Lucas says, Todd Monken with Baker, Chubb, OBJ, and Landry won 6 games in 2019. Now he's got no quarterback, no running back, no receivers. We'll be fine, ... Brody's bottom line says, how many Ravens will follow Todd to Cleveland? Michael Bayless says they should have hired Schwartz as the head coach from the beginning of the process and spent all this time finding a good offensive coordinator. I am Jared Morris says that the Browns DC position become the most sought-after DC spot in the league now. It's going to be a topic we do tomorrow or Friday, so we'll dive into that. How attractive?
Why would it be that? I don't think it's that attractive because you can only go down. You're not going to get credit if the defense is good next year.
Hey man, I'm not even. I can't even do no attractive.
Come on.
I can't even do no attractive conversation.
No, it's not. No,
the attractive stuff. We trying to find names and plug and play. How attractive it is. That's we not gonna do that.
Come on.
We gotta find me a body.
Two more. Alex Robinson says, I'm a Ravens fan and I hate this for the Browns. He wasn't using Derrick Henry right and pissed Lamar off. It should have been Schwartz. And Face Disabler says, all this complaining about losing Schwartz and we have stacked talent on that side of the ball for the last 3 years. Don't act like this isn't one of the most attractive DC jobs in football.
People live in la-la land sometimes.
I love it.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Wait, real quick.
What's that?
First time in the history of UCSS that a normal show, over 40,000 viewers during these 2 hours. So
again,
shout out to you guys. We love you guys.
Amazing. We love you all. Again, join me live in the bullpen in 45 minutes. Join G. Bush later today the Ultimate Cleveland Browns Show. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.